it's now time to actually start, because I'm just the facilitator. I'm not the one who has all the content in her head, who has all the content to contribute, but I would think it's time to actually kick this off by the people who are in the lead of this whole project. So I want to introduce here now Arno Falkhoff and Benno Bultink, right? Come on up on stage. From Rijkswaterstaat, you're kind of the lead of the whole project. You're in charge of it, being the head of this whole project, and especially being the project lead. I think it's kind of up to you to kick off this day, this afternoon, and tell us what this project actually is all about and why you initiated it, what your stakes are in it.
Very good. Okay.
Yes. Okay, good afternoon. I hope you had a safe and pleasant journey and you are ready for an inspiring event here at the fascinating Amsterdam Eye. You are in the center of Amsterdam, where water has a very important place. Amsterdam is famous and built around these canals. In the 16th and 17th century, those canals were necessary to distribute the products from and to the warehouses in the city. Amsterdam was a trading place for goods from over the world. The rivers connecting the Netherlands were used to distribute those goods to other countries in Europe. Nowadays, Amsterdam is also famous for its painters, like Rembrandt. Maybe you have time to visit it in the Rijksmuseum. I hope in the next few days you will have time to have a look in Amsterdam, in the city, and have some joy, some fun. My name is Arno Falkhoff, and I'm director of the network management at Rijkswaterstaat East Netherlands. It's a lead partner of Connected River Project. In my role of director, I'm responsible for maintenance and construction projects in the provinces Gelderland and Overijssel. In the Netherlands, Rijkswaterstaat East Netherlands is responsible for the waterways like the rivers Rhine, Waal, IJssel, the highways and the water system. On behalf of Rijkswaterstaat, I would like to welcome you all at the Tolhuistuin for the kick-off of the Connected River project. It's a 4-year Interreg North Sea project co-funded by the European Union. I would like to say a special word of welcome to Anne Piens of Interreg North Sea and Albin Runja of RVO Netherlands, and thank them and their organizations for their support and wise advice during the proposal phase of this project. But also to our Dutch partners, Waternet and the municipality of Dordrecht, as well as to the ecosystem partners from Amsterdam Eye, such as the Port of Amsterdam, the municipality of Amsterdam and Sail Amsterdam. Thank you for showing interest in Connected River. I would also like to welcome to our online audience, which includes our partners from other North Sea countries. We see that in the North Sea region, our waterways and waterfronts are getting busier each day with more and different users, each with their own interests. Like here on the Amsterdam Eye at the center of this growing city and with an important harbor, commercial shipping, cruise boats, ferries and many recreational users come together here. Maybe you saw it when you arrived here by train and took the ferry to this place. You saw all the boats crossing each other. And then imagine when it's summer, when it is hot, and then small boats are also on the eye area, on the eye water, with people having fun there. So then it is much busier than it's now. When you took the ferry from the Central Station, you've wondered about all the ships you saw bypassing each other. Multiple user groups with sometimes conflicting interests lead to an increase in risk of accidents, pollutions and conflicts. The speed at which those developments take place require that we have to adapt our existing working procedures and tools so we can respond quickly and flexible. Thereby we should stay focused on and involve to different user groups. Only in that way we can make our waterways and waterfronts safer, accessible and livable. For now, but also in the future. There are opportunities waiting at the horizon. And that's why we are here today. Together we will explore innovative, user-centered methods of working and introduce digital and smart solutions for these common challenges. The Connected River project provides a huge opportunity to share knowledge and experiences between countries and between urban and rural areas in the North Sea region. If we want to have impact, and I believe we all want this, we have to work together and focus on our shared objectives of mobilizing multi-stakeholder ecosystems, implementing user-centric agile innovation and accelerate the implementation of digital and smart solutions to improve services that all users and stakeholders of our waterways and waterfronts. Together, we need input and real-world experience from our 6 local pilot areas, such as the Amsterdam Eye and the Kleine Niete in Belgium. I'm proud that we can work together in the context of a connected river, with so many partners all across the North Sea region from France to Sweden. Let's use this kick-off event and take time to the coming days to inspire each other and be inspired. To conclude, I would like to stress the importance to building capacity around waterways and waterfronts with share use in our organizations like Rijkswaterstaat, with similar organizations and stakeholders and users. To stimulate capacity building, Connected River will develop a platform that provides tools and approach guidelines so that both current as well as partners and others can use the contact to create successful collaborations and innovation. I wish you all a fruitful and inspiring days with a lot of insights, knowledge, exchange and discussions. And last but not least, enjoy being together with old and new friends in this nice town of Amsterdam. Thank you.
Stay up. Thank you so much for those insights. Thanks a lot. Yeah, you can stay up.
Sorry.
I have a few questions for you, of course. You can't just give a speech and think you're done, right?
No,
that doesn't work.
everything is on the paper. You know, my English is a little bit...
That's okay, easy. But it's not just them, it's not just everybody on stage, it's also all of you we want to involve, of course. That's why you probably saw... You're kind of like those guys on the football field, right? Yeah, you can sometimes vote on some questions. So whenever I ask a question and you think, yes, I agree, then you just point up the green one. Whenever you say, no, I don't agree, or no, this doesn't appear to me, then it's a red card. And I actually start right away because, Arno, you started talking about this beautiful river, about the eye you have over here. So my first question actually is to the whole audience. Please raise your hand if you have, so a green card, right? If you have ever sailed or been individually on this river. So let's green up, red no. Alrighty, that's quite a mixture, I would say. Okay, so to the ones in green who have been on this river, who knows the rules and regulations on how to route on this, on how to operate? Green card up, red card up. Okay. This might be one of the things why you initiated this project. I'm not sure, but Arno, or Benno, what's your ambition? Why did you kick off this project? What is your ambition with this project, especially regarding the eye?
Well, first of all, very nice to see you all this afternoon in Amsterdam and also on the live stream as well. I think what you see here is that many people are visiting the rivers in the Netherlands, and there are even more and more people visiting it. It's not only the commercial shipping vessels, but also many people get there for recreational purposes. And we found out that, well, that there are maybe raising up conflicts, pollution, things like that. And we also found out that for us as Rijkswaterstaat, how we normally approach these developments was not so fitted anymore. So we need to find out other ways of working, more starting with the users, more short cycle way of working. And also we found out that many of these users are also many young people. And so many young people get to the water in the evening, during daytime. So we also thought maybe we also should other techniques to get in touch with these users and to help them to get safe to their location. So that's why we're also experimenting with digital and smart solutions.
Okay. And Arno, do you already know one of the main challenges? Like, what's the main challenge you have with this river? Is it the individual person who are going on their leisure time over there? Or what is the biggest challenge you have in mind already?
The biggest challenge for me is, as you know, I'm working in the Nijmegen area. In the Nijmegen area, you have a nice place to be at. It's part of the river, and it's in the center of the city. So it's part of the city already. It's the same as here. Yeah? The eye, what you see, it's in the city center of Amsterdam. And people are living there, are recreation and more recreation. People like to go out, swim in the river, not in the Waal, but well in the water besides the Waal, where the project area is. And so also there are people who like to go rowing, in rowing boats and other kinds of things. And now they're on a small piece of water and doing that things together. But also that water is proposed for nature. And we need to have the KRW guidelines. I don't know how to say it in English. KRW.
Water Framework Directive.
Kijk, thank you. Now that's also important for that area in Nijmegen. And now doing all that things together, that's a a very complex question. So I'm very proud that in Europe we are trying to look for solutions together. Maybe in Hamburg you have the solution for us.
Not sure about that, looking at my Hamburg colleagues, but let's see about that. Okay, so that's your vision and your ambition for this project, to learn from those other regions and address your challenges? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we kind of understood your vision for it. What's this kickoff going to teach us today, Benno? What have we learned after those 3 days about the project, about the pilot areas, and so on?
Well, actually, you could say that this afternoon is actually the project in a nutshell. So we are carrying out 3 pilots. So the first section of the afternoon will be about development of ecosystems, how to deal with the challenges in these 6 pilot areas what we have in Europe. Then the second part will be about, okay, but how we do this experimenting, this user-centric way of working. This you will also learn today. And we will get into the 6 pilot areas. And then finally, okay, if we find solutions to keep it safe, to keep it accessible, to keep it livable, how we do it, how we get it into the business, how do we, that it really will be implemented. And this you will learn this afternoon. And what you also will learn is that we have 13 partners from 6 countries, and you can see it over there. And these are 3 types of partners. So we have the host partners. They bring in the pilot areas such as the Amsterdam Eye. We also have solution partners, the second group. So we need them for the smart and digital solutions. And we have the approach partners, and they help us with how you set up and let an ecosystem grow, and how you do this user-centric way of working and with design thinking, things like that. And this you will all learn this afternoon, with at the end also some reflection on that as well. And this is how we do it. Also in our project, we work together with different types of partners, looking for a way to move forward and really to develop another approach and really bring forward digital and smart solutions. What makes it safer and more accessible our waters in our countries. So this you will also learn today in the program as well. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot for this ambitious afternoon we will have over here. Thanks for now, you guys, and I would say let's clap our hands together for you for picking it up. So Benno just mentioned quite a few of the logos up here. One logo he didn't mention, and this is one above here. And I already talked to Anne shortly before. I asked her about her role, and she was like, well, we're kind of financing it, right? So I think this is an important perspective as well to have on stage. So I would say, Anne, please come up here.
Thank you, Eileen. And yeah, welcome everyone as well from my side.
Cool. Anne, from Interreg North Sea, I think that's kind of how you pronounce it?
Interreg.
Interreg. Okay, that's easier, even for German. Great. What is your ambition with this project?
With the project, we are really excited about the project because it is an innovation project. It is funded under our innovation priority. It's about resilient and smart economies. This is one of the key goals of the program. And it's really an exciting perspective because it brings together an area, a geographical area, waterways and waterfronts that is usually not really approached or hasn't been approached from the angle of innovation. It's more been approached on economical innovation in that sense, but it's more been approached from a biodiversity, climate change adaptation point of view. So actually combining the waterways, waterfronts with innovation, design thinking, co-creation, involving the end users, that is something that we're really, really curious about how this will work in practice and excited to see what will happen in the next 4 years. So it's a Call 1 project, so the current program started running in 2021. And so we are not really sure where all of this is heading, but I think it's going to set a good ambition level for the future projects coming in the program. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. What do you like best about this project?
What do I like best about the project?
I mean, it's the first day, so I don't know how much you can like already. Maybe the location or something, but...
I mean, it's a very nice location, I have to say. It's a very good view, and it was so easy to get here. I was a bit worried coming from the airport just before the meeting, and because, I mean, taking the ferry, not really knowing how to find it, but there was a very good description. I think Barry wrote it. Thank you for that. And I exited the station. There was a ferry waiting for me. I arrived on the other side, and boom, I was there. So I don't know how many of you came by ferry, but it was really nice. But apart from that, it's actually, I was involved in drafting the innovation priority for the 2027 program. And then I went on maternity leave. And I didn't really know what happened. And I came back just the day after the first call closed. And the proposal landed on my table. And I was like, OK, you go ahead and assess this. And I looked at it and was like, waterways, waterfronts, Rijkswaterstaat is the lead partner. Are you sure this is a priority 1 project? And I've been working a lot with co-creation, but more from the social innovation perspective. So I just got excited about it. And I just have to say that it was very well written. It became very clear from the application what you want to do, where you want to go. So that was just a very fun aspect almost of assessing it. And then obviously the monitoring committee also thought it was a good idea. So you got the green light. I wrote a couple of things more down that I liked. Personally, what I like, there's a lot of things I like. I also like the use of the word ecosystem because it proves a personal point. I like the term innovation ecosystem or multi-stakeholder ecosystem, as you call it. And we had a long discussion in our team when we drafted the program because many of my colleagues said, yeah, but ecosystem, that's about biodiversity. It's animals, it's plants. You can't use it in those terms because it will confuse people. And then actually getting an application with the first call using the word ecosystem, I was just like, yes, I was right. So thank you for that. So that's just a very personal observation on that.
Okay. Thank you. You just highlighted the words collaboration, bringing together other perspectives. And as you also mentioned, it's an international project with different parties from different projects, different countries. So my question to you again is, who has already worked in an international project similar to this where different countries had to work together? Again, time for your cards.
That's quite a number.
Okay, some of you have, some of you haven't. So I think it's important to learn from you guys. So who has already worked in such a project? And what can we learn from your experience? This is all about learning from each other. So who has a point we should kind of bring into this project and take from the very first step along with us? Whoever has one, just hold up your hand and then you'll get a microphone for that. And let's be open, we want to learn. Over there, of course, last row. We have to see how this works. Maybe you just come to the front for me. Now you have to get on stage as well. And after that, Pantheon as well.
Hi, Alban.
There you go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I'm the contact point for Interact North Sea, but I had been in a project many years ago. I think it was 2006. I took over a project, and it was so apparent that people were sort of bored with each other at that point. It was 3 years ongoing, maybe even 4 years. So I think my main message is become friends. Of course, it's work. You have to achieve something. You promise to do something in the application that Anna ran. But I think I saw it happening already during lunch. You have to become sort of friends. Be really interested in each other, in each other's work, but also in each other personally, because then it's going to work. I think that's my message.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a people's business, right? So it's people connecting with people and not just companies with companies. Pantheon.
Yes, I think you are participating in such a project because of not that you have so much free time. So I think that the best of this kind of project is that you can learn from each other, the transferabilities of the things you are seeing, you are experiencing from the others. Maybe it's the angles that you have never seen it before. And I think that is the most I have learned from such a project.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pantheon. So we'll keep in mind, we have to connect with the people. We have to become friends somehow. Maybe those evenings tonight and tomorrow will help with that, but the whole days. And we should really, really seriously think about those different perspectives we have in this room, who can actually collaborate here. Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, Anne, for being here, for sharing this with us, and for taking it back home to Denmark as well, right?
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so I think we're kind of warmed up. We kind of know why we are here right now, who's in charge of this whole thing, and what we should keep in mind for the next steps. And one of the things we just said is learning from each other and different perspectives. And the first session actually will be about challenges facing shared waterfronts and waterways. So those 6 different regions have similar scopes and maybe different challenges, maybe similar challenges. We'll see about that. But I'm not going to tell you about that. We have someone else telling you about that and introducing this round. So Wouter van Boekhaven, I hope that's kind of all right, Professor of Innovation in Ecosystems from Antwerp Management School. Hi, Wouter.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
You're doing a good job so far.
Thank you, thank you. Compliments will get you anywhere, you know.
Whatever I say now, I'm safe, right?
So, Wouter, what is an innovation ecosystem? Anne just talked about it. She loves the word ecosystem. What do you understand with this word, and how can this whole ecosystem help address those challenges?
Basically, an ecosystem is any kind of system which is self-sustaining. That's pretty important, because when we talk about an innovation ecosystem, it's always also the place where the agency of the innovation is, where all of the initiation, the identification, the implementation, and the sustaining of the innovation happens. So that's why it's almost always a multi-stakeholder thing. And basically, Ron Adner had a very nice way of putting it. So for an innovator, the ecosystem, it's actually all of those things that go wrong when you did everything right. And that's the ecosystem. So there is indeed, there are other people that you depend on, and you only use the ecosystem when you cannot do all of that innovation work yourself, basically. And you have to depend on others, and you're solving challenges. And you're not the owner of neither the entire problem nor the entire solution. And that's when you need your ecosystem.
Okay. And as you're going to talk about that connected with the challenges here, what will we learn in your session right now? What's going to happen next?
Well, again, this is well, I'm perhaps introducing the session, but this is not my session. In fact, it is the session of all the different pilot areas that we have here, all the host partners. They will be presenting their challenges. So what we will be learning now during this session is really, what kind of challenges relating to waterfronts and water areas can be solved by the innovation ecosystem. So, okay. I guess without further ado, I would like to call our first host, really the host partner to the stage, which would be Jelmer. Voilà. Okay. So as you might have seen already, there are some banners around here, and we will be bringing those banners one by one. Sorry, 2 by 2 on the stage. And so we are approaching this project in what we called a canon. So we are starting different host areas, pilot areas at the same time. And Nijmegen and Amsterdam were the first batch to come up. So I think, Jeannette, are you? Yeah. So for Nijmegen, we have Jeannette. Nijmegen, we have Jeannette. And for Amsterdam, we have Jelmer here. And they will be telling us a bit more about the challenges they want to solve with digital innovation. So, Jelmer.
Yeah, so thank you, Wouter. And I'll start with Amsterdam. Already Arno and Benno introduced the area, and it's great to have a banner, but actually, if you look outside, the pilot area is, you're actually right in the pilot area at the moment. So this is useful, but it's much more interesting to look outside for a moment and see what's going on. Because this is the IJ. For those of you who haven't been in Amsterdam earlier or quite often, although it's connected river, IJ is technically not a river, but anyway, it's a water. It used to be an open connection to the sea, but that's already quite a while ago. Since about 100 years ago, we dammed the sea, and now the IJ is an inner lake, and it's a connection to other parts of the Netherlands. If you go west, you go to the Port of Amsterdam, belongs to the 5th largest ports of Europe, and then you'll find the connection to the North Sea through the Sea Lock. If you go east, you go to the IJsselmeer, or south to Rotterdam, to Nijmegen, or even to Antwerp in Belgium, or to Germany. So the IJ is actually a vital connection in our economy, connecting everything that comes in from Amsterdam to the hinterland. And in the Netherlands, we transport about 40% of all goods by water. So all the vessels you see, we don't want them on the road. So they're actually needed to keep the logistics in the Netherlands going. But it's also a city, as you experienced earlier today. In the south, the historical city center. In the north, a lot of popular neighborhoods and interesting architecture. So there's a lot of commuting north to south. These ferries, they go every 6 minutes during the day, only for this part. So that's a lot of connections all day. And it's not only commuting, because when it's sunny, when it's a nice event or a weekend, people love to go out with their boats and enjoy the water, enjoy the city, and also enjoy the IJ. And it can get really, really crowded. On a busy day, especially in the canals, you can jump from one boat to another. And also here on the IJ, it can be quite a nest full of bees or whatever animals that like to crawl together. And well, as I work for Rijkswaterstaat, our key priority is to make sure that all users can use our waterways in a safe way. And here in Amsterdam, we do that together with Port of Amsterdam and with the City of Amsterdam and Waternet. And yeah, we work together in this pilot area. And our solution provider is PortPay, a company which is specialized in digital tools and sensors for maritime and port industries. And our collective challenge is, how can we make the I area with its diverse, growing and changing population a safe, sustainable and economic viable shared space? So that's quite a mouthful. But yeah, what we see is that people love to live near the I, travel across the I, commute, bring their goods, introduce new types of recreation. And all these new users asks for new innovations and solutions. And that's what we're trying to develop together. So yeah, that's the I area.
Thank you, Jelmer. Okay, so yeah, before we get to any questions, Jeannette, I'll first have you do your pitch, and then we have a small round of questions for you. Oh, you even came.
Nou, ik zet hem wel even in. Slecht idee, slecht idee.
Thank you, Jelmer, for your help. Good afternoon. My name is Jeannette Stevens from the city of Nijmegen. It's a very small city when you compare it with Amsterdam or Hamburg. We only have 180,000 inhabitants, but it's a very beautiful city. It's the oldest city of the Netherlands, so we are very proud to join this project, and we are happy to use the ecosystem of this project to bring our city a much more further in innovation and digital solutions. And although we are a very small city, you can see that our challenge is not that different from Amsterdam or the other area pilots. It's not a very long time ago when the Nevengeul, you see the river Waal, you see the Nevengeul. It's a waterway system for the high water risks. En die kaderrichtlijn water, en dan zoek ik Barry weer even, die kon het zo mooi vertalen.
Nevengeul is bypass.
Bypass. Oh, thank you, Barry. And it's in the time it's there, the users are it's a hotspot. It become a hotspot. There's a lot more users, a lot more conflicts in belangen.
Conflicts of interest.
So we have to connect them together and bring them together to keep it safe and funny to be there. I'm not doing this on my own. Sander, is co-pilot. Thank you, Sander. For making this. And this, I brought this praatplaat. Hoe vertaal je dat dan?
You have to love the Dutch, praatplaat.
Yeah. It's a beautiful Dutch word.
A talking image or whatever?
A talking image. An infographic. What we've done until now. So we have some stakeholder sessions and interviews and all that. Keep the teams safety, information, and the fun of use of the area. And then we have some solutions. Oplossingsrichtingen even.
Solution directions.
Solution directions for each theme. And the main connection is to control the crowd management and to collaborate together. So we have to learn a lot from all of you
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
thank you,
it.
Jeannette. So, small applause. Okay, so we started with Amsterdam and Nijmegen, which was not entirely coincidental. It's not just because they were the two Dutch host partners, and we had this first kickoff meeting in the Netherlands. No, these are also the two areas which have already been doing some kind of experimenting so far, and due to previous projects as well. And I've already had the pleasure to work a little bit with both areas. And in both areas, we see they've taken a bit of a different course. And this is also a little bit why we present each of these different pilot areas, because they all have, as we heard, demands, challenges, which are not entirely different, which are somehow relatable, but their starting points and what they've done so far are very different. And so Nijmegen and Amsterdam are the two areas which are a bit the furthest, but both of your trajectories were quite different, right? And Jelmer, I'll ask you first. So in Amsterdam, what really struck you was that you were already quite far in exploring digital solutions. Can you tell us, the other pilot areas and everyone in the room here, a little bit, what was really necessary to make that happen, to already make those steps towards a solution? What were some success factors according to you?
It's true that we started in the ecosystem about 2 or 3 years ago with the Port of Amsterdam and City of Amsterdam and Waternet. And I think two things helped us. In the first place, there was an event coming, and that was for all of us a very well-known event, and also a deadline that gave us pressure to start immediately working towards that deadline. And that helped us to make it serious. So I would advise to use events as a stepping stone in your pilot areas, because that's very helpful. And the second thing is that we, via our network, we were introduced to a partner, PortPay, that already had tested some solutions, or even had proven solutions in the city of Amsterdam. So what we were able to do is upscale them to larger waters and see how they worked there. So we were not innovating from scratch. We're also copying and upscaling things that already done somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, so some of the lessons that I could take from this, if I were to go theoretic here, but that's indeed a nice combination of, on the one hand, using external pressure, which is at the same time both a little bit of a challenge, you could say, as well as an opportunity here, because there are players who actually have a benefit in having, everyone has a benefit in having a nice event in the end, right? Okay, and another one, that's also, of course, sort of appropriating what's already there, working with experienced partners. So those are two valuable lessons. Jeannette, well, almost the same question for you, but I think since your trajectory was a bit different, what really struck me in, especially that first session in this brown cafe, the Waalzicht, in Nijmegen, was that you had brought together a nicely engaged set of stakeholders. You say, yes, it's a smaller scale. Sometimes that comes with the advantage that distances are a bit smaller as well. The group isn't so big, but still nicely you had all of those different stakeholders there. You had a pretty clear idea of what the users were and what their challenges were already to work from. So you didn't start with, okay, let's do a blockchain, but rather with what are some real user challenges that we could start with. What, according to you, were the success factors to have this engaged stakeholder group there?
Now, when you start with the users and you know what they want and they want to do in that area, you can, when you start with them, you know what they want, you can organize it around the stakeholders. Of course, you have to do with law and all regulations, but the law and the regulations are for the users, are for the inhabitants, the citizens. Yeah. So we liked to start from out the users, and then you can come to the real problem, and then you can when you know the problem of the wensen,
The desires,
the
preference,
desires from the users. You can organize all around it, and then you have a nice area and a nice use and a safe use.
Yeah, yeah, and I imagine with everything you've tried to do, you probably had very little resistance, right? So
yeah, sure. When you go top down,
Mhm.
you have a lot of resistance from the people who live there and who have their horeca. Sorry, ik leg me even neer. So when they have the idea of they know that they can bring in their points of view and their wishes, they work with you and not against you.
Mhm.
So that's our starting point.
Yeah. Well, and that's also the subtitle of the project, Be Like Water. I think this is a very nice principle of ecosystems. It's using soft power. It's actually helping others help you. That's also one of these things. So the ecosystem, that's why it's called eco. Actually, it's a living system. It's self-propagating. It starts acting on its own. It starts growing on its own, and for that it needs energy. And that's also what we'll see in a masterclass in 2 days. The primary source of energy for any ecosystem is comes from the user somehow. But then I won't give everything away just yet. No, but thanks for that. I think we're in time to move towards the next batch. Can we have one more applause here for Jelmer and Jeanette? So the second batch of pilot areas that we'll see is, well, we're moving now at once all the way north to Hamburg. So another major port. We weren't going to do Kleine. Okay, so yeah. And there we have Marius, who will be giving us the story and the challenges of Homeport Hamburg. Homeport Hamburg is part of the Hamburg Port Authority, and it's actually their hub focused on innovation. But Marius can do a much better job of telling you about that. And for Lille Ports, I think we have Sarah. Yes. Hi, Sarah. So Lille Ports, yeah, kind of a different port, a bit. Well, I guess Hamburg can start. So it's a bit of a smaller port, but I think some of the issues are also quite similar for both these ports, because they're both located within the city center. I come from Antwerp, also a big port, but for us, the city and the port, they are quite separated, really. And that's, well, therefore, I think these two ports have some very specific challenges on solving their innovation needs and so on, but also doing that in harmony with the inhabitants. So, Marius.
Yeah, thank you, Ute. Hi, my name is Marius Eschen from the Hamburg Port Authority, as you already introduced. I was more or less the initiator for the Homeport Hamburg project 2 years ago. We had the ITS World Congress in Hamburg in 2021. So our idea was to set up a place where we can more or less demonstrate and test urban air mobility services, drones on the water, underwater. So every hardware innovation, what is coming to the port in the future, or to the city as well. So our idea was, okay, we want to have this place for 2021, the ITS Congress, but not only for that day or that week. We want to establish it, more or less for a period, for a long time. So we try to set an operation model behind that demonstration area. And so the Homeport Hamburg is now, I would say, in our region, an established test bed for innovation. Partners or customers, more or less, can come and use our areas, can use our test beds to demonstrate their drones, for example, or their hardware innovation, mostly drones. They can, I don't know, get feedback from users or people, citizens, and so on. So that is our idea. But we will introduce you a little bit more in that topic and what we are doing with the presentation of Pantian in an hour, I think. And yeah, we are not that sure about our solution, more or less, or about our question. But our feeling is, or my challenge is more or less, that together with a colleague, we are not that much engaged with the community in Hamburg. So our first idea was, okay, when we speak about innovation ecosystems, we want to, get more in touch with our possible customers and with the users and so on. So yeah, let's do this challenge. How can we collaborate in an innovative ecosystem to align port operation with the needs and requirements of residents while also addressing environmental concerns? So, and possible solutions is to set up an open innovation platform where more or less everybody can join, or doing some more stuff. Anything else? Questions? No. Questions by you? No. Well, okay. I think I'm finished.
Okay. Thank you for that, Marius. So it was a brave initiative. Yeah. First round of applause. No. So thanks for telling us a bit more. And for any questions about really cool smart port solutions, I think Marius is your go-to. And we also have Vantian, European, I think, authority on smart port innovation, whom we'll hear later. I'll come back with questions to you, but first we'll hear Sarah's challenges.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah. So I'm from Port of Lille, right here, which is I don't know if everybody knows, so it's in north of France, very next to Belgium. So we are like Port of Lille. It's plural. Yeah, it consists of 12 ports inside the greater Lille area, which is very connected with all the city center. We are connected by geographically and very next to residents and inhabitants and cities. So it is very important to us to be able to manage and adapt our activities to the diversity that are on the river. And the Port of Lille is managed by VNF, which is, I don't know how to say it, but the same as you, Benno. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yes, in France. I won't try to pronounce that. Yes. So it's important to us to work with them because they manage the river waterways and we're more on land. So we know how to bring people together, to work with them, to adapt and to just work and exchange together, cities, inhabitants, association, economic partners, like we said, river company, because we our main activities is to develop shipping, inland shipping. So we need to see how we can manage the cohabitation between all this diversity of uses on the river, which is called the Dole. So that's why we choose to participate to this project, and very happy to be able to meet everyone, meet every project, and just exchange so we can learn from each other and we can just adapt maybe one solution to another. And I don't know, yeah, I think that's it. And also, before I forgot, also it is very important for the cities and for us too to be able to build a sustainable solution which gets to the biodiversity challenges, to the social challenges, economic challenges, to get more and more attractive and just have something that can be able to live like an ecosystem. I mean.
Okay, thank you both for these presentations. Well, I'll call you out one by one. So,
okay. Not too hard questions.
Speak simultaneously.
Well, you can speak here. No, so again, although the city here, the ports have some of the same issues. Again, the approaches are quite different. So I think for Hamburg, it's very much technology driven so far. And for Lille, you're mostly focusing now on getting some harmony with the people around the port also. Two different issues. But I also saw that actually in both areas you've also made some interesting steps forward at least. So in Hamburg, I think when we came to visit Hamburg last year, when was it? October, November?
October, yeah.
And we were also hosted at the home port, the containers that you have put up there as well. And I think one of the things that you are furthest with comparing to the other pilot areas is really involving the local entrepreneurial ecosystem. And so no doubt it's been a process to do so, and we've talked, so probably it's going to pivot again. Yeah. But what are your lessons learned there that you would like to share with the other areas?
In learning, not only working with the startup sector, but in generally, when you speak to potential customers or users, they really give you a lot of login and signing. For example, like LOEs or something. We really need it. It's cool. We want to have it, and so on. And then you go a step forward and you create a little space. You create a little campus. You have so many signed LOEs, and you think, oh my God, it will be so full, and we run out of capacity, and afterwards you knock again on the door and they say, it's cool what you're doing, but at the moment I'm really busy and doing my stuff, what they have to do. I mean, for sure, everybody has its core business and so on, and sometimes, my point of view, there's not that much space for innovation or changing or adapting topics for the future. And so most people are saying, cool that you're here and I have you in my mind. But for the moment, I'm just watching you and being the best friend, but I will not participate. And that's a little bit frustrating sometimes, even when you working with your internal stakeholders, for example, who are paying, for example, for that topic, because nothing is for free, and then you say, they changed their minds, and it's not only 10% or 20%, sometimes it's even more, and then that's sometimes a little bit frustrating. But the lesson learned is that you never give up, and as you said, sometimes you need to pivot. We need to change when they are not coming. Then we are really not addressing their problems. So now that is where Connected River comes in. Now we're asking again, trying to set up maybe a more user centricity approach on that topic, and asking, okay, what is your problem? Where can we support? And maybe it's not only the topic that we have to bring in the test beds and the tech playground. Maybe we also have to support with content moderation. I don't know. We see. I think in the next 2-3 years, if we have the time in Hamburg. But that's our lesson learned. I think for that special question.
Yeah, and so we heard previously from Nijmegen that they started with this approach of first looking at user problems and then looking what innovation can do there. Will that be part of the pivot, you think?
Yeah, I mean, we also look on problems. At first we have our own problem. We have an internal R&D, research and development department, a little one, but they doing a lot of third-party projects, and so from our own we need test beds for underwater and water drones, but for sure we are the port authority, so we can give our own permits. We don't need to bring or give permits to others in that context. But yeah, now we more or less professionalize or professionalize is maybe the best word for that. And that's
okay.
Is that answering your question?
Well, we still have a couple of years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good.
Perhaps now back to the audience also, because you might feel a bit left alone. But I also have a question for you here, because what we see now, especially with this new pivot, it's going in a direction, and we already discussed this. I also recognize this. I'm also counseling the North Sea port. They're also going more towards this customer-centric direction, that they still want to leverage innovation, but not innovation for innovation's sake. They're really looking at what are the needs, so customer centricity, meaning really looking at what are all the needs of our community, of our port community, and then not necessarily building all of those solutions themselves, but kind of curating that in kind of an innovation portal. And your idea was also now to move towards such an innovation portal, right?
Yeah, not only on our own for sure, but in the combination with the partners. And some of them, especially here on the left side, maybe are really doing that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, maybe more or less integrate topics like that in a how to say one holistic way, in a one package combination or whatever. Yeah.
And so the question I have here for the audience is, since this seems to be a move we're going, and other industries have also already lived through that a little bit, but does someone here have either experience with or an opinion on moving towards such innovation portals? If so, so that Marius can have someone to talk to about this, aside from North Sea Port. So if you do, please raise that green card, and then we will try to visually imprint all of those faces that we see here. Okay, I guess that's also, no response is also a response.
Should we break up at that point?
No, I think this is at least some kind of validation that you're boldly going where no person has gone before, it seems. Yeah. Okay, Marius, can you hand the mic to Sarah? Yes. Thanks, Marius. So, Sarah, so at the Port of Lille, you were also still considering what actually you could be, what your way forward could really be. Sorry, is the sound okay? Yeah?
Yes.
And there now you're seeing already quite some challenges. But on the other hand, I've also worked with, well, not necessarily Port of Lille. Well, I've been at Port of Lille a couple of times already, but also with let's say the ecosystem around Port of Lille. And there I see one of the strengths that you have there is what I would call aggregation. So this going together in Norlink as an association of smaller ports and so on. And by the power of the many, also introducing new technologies. I've also been working together with the people from the Polytechnique de Lille, so Rojdi Merzouki and so on. So there we see that even for those small smaller ports with not so big innovation budgets, that still you're able to attract quite, we saw even that Rojdi built not a digital twin, but then a physical twin on top of that. So really some cool applications of technology. So would you be ready to share some of your lessons learned in how to work together with some of your, which could be competitors, but actually your neighboring ports?
Okay. Yes, we are very much interested in the innovation. Try to learn from one another, or try to find new solution, and involving students and schools. But except from that, maybe I will pass the mic to sorry. Because no, I don't know how to maybe share some learning, because I didn't was in charge of this project, so I don't know any, a little bit from the feedback, but not very much. So.
And do you see some of the advantages, at least, that it brings to be working together with?
Yes, it's giving some how do you say that? searching.
Tu peux le dire en français, donc.
Oh, ça donne un... Very easy. Ça donne un regard nouveau sur le port. Enfin, ça donne un éclairage.
So a new perspective and
yes, new
on
perspective and a new, a new approach of the port, because we are seeing like industrial areas, but also trying to innovate, trying to innovate and bring new solutions for the cities, for the greater Lille area. And so it's kind of trying to benefit all the people around us, not only for us, but also for the companies that are installed, I don't know, on our sites, and also the cities and, the population also. So, I don't know if it's very clear, but kind of.
Fair point. Then perhaps now back to the audience, and I hope this time there is someone who has some experience with this. So hopefully, and now your attention is already raised. Do help us out. No, but here we heard that actually for the Port of Lille, they have 6 different sites across the city, and for them at each of these sites they have other neighbors. So managing neighbors is a pretty tough job for you. So is there also here in the audience someone who has some experience with, or if you don't have any experience, just an opinion on how to do that well, how to manage your neighbors as a port? Because that's also what Connected River is about, the multiple uses of these waterfront areas. We have commercial use, you have the residents, you have the tourists. We just see a bus of tourists walking outside here. So it's not an easy thing to do, this multi-stakeholder management. Anyone who has an opinion or some experience with that? Okay, couple of people, yeah? Anyone who also wants to already share something, or we just imprint your faces right now and in the networking? Yeah?
I think living labs, kind of free test zones are wonderful kind of combinators to bring the communities together in a real place for problem.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
No, it's too short. It's too short.
Oh.
Because, it's too short.
Then back to you.
So I'm just your friendly neighbor across the eye here at the Maritrein with Juanita, who's at AMS Institute from Maritrein. But a living laboratory is a wonderful way to get everybody on the same page, and having a kind of dedicated experiment zone to let the public see and let the stakeholders see your solutions in practice can really unite a common vision and kind of reduce all those anxieties and mitigate the risks as much as you can. So kind of hardcore, inner city kind of, or inner ports kind of area to kind of showcase all of these solutions is a wonderful way to kind of bring everybody together.
Okay. Well, Tom, before you go, No, could you, do you have some examples? Because AMS is a well-known name here at Amsterdam, and apparently it's not for Antwerp Management School, so didn't know that. But anyway, no, at AMS, you have some experience with these living labs. Can you give one or
I think Juanita would be a better spokesperson for that. But just while she come up, I think it's important to explain this is because I think this is a kind of wonderful solution for everybody. But tomorrow I'm going to give a sensor safari to those who are awake at 8:30. And I'm just going to bring you around to show how you actually set these devices up, IoT, the data that we collect and what we do with the data to improve the livability and the surroundings and the experiences and the services. So it's just about an hour tour tomorrow morning at 8:30. So look forward to speaking with you guys more on this topic. But here's Juanita.
Thank you for that, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
So, yeah.
Hello, everyone. I used to live in Antwerp, so I know very well that there is another IMS. I work in Living Labs, so I have been working in Living Labs since Belgium, and now I work for the Amsterdam Metropolitan Solutions Institute. And we are also experts in Living Labs, so our way of thinking is that Living Labs is an underlying methodology that supports urban innovation. So it's not the magic solution, definitely, but it's a method that allows you to test in a small scale an innovative solution with multiple stakeholders. So ideally, you start from the challenges of the different stakeholders, including users, which you want to integrate since the early process.
And then you define the value proposition, making sure that all the agendas of your key partners are aligned on that.
And could you give us just one example of what would be kind of a demonstrator or so, or something in the Living Lab which really has a big impact on creating awareness with let's say the civilians around the port?
Around the port, well, around the port exactly, I don't have any example in mind, but right, robot could be, but robot still in a small scale, but I think that is very nice in the marine terrain actually. So robot was a project that was developed together with the MIT Sensible Lab and AMS Institute and other partners, and it's an autonomous boat that now is in testing and now is becoming a company. So they have been testing that at the marine terrain with real users. There are people that swim, which poses a lot of challenges because if you use LiDAR sensors, you need to detect faces of people. Then you have the real life environment of people doing other things, animals, and things like that. So it has been a perfect example to test in a small scale how an innovation can work and how you can deploy that after in a real life environment in a bigger scale. Yep.
Okay, thanks a lot, Juanita. So, again, perhaps also one more applause for Marius and Sarah. And now originally we still had 2 host areas for you, but I've used a bit more time because we only have one more left. So last but not least, we have the Kleine Nete from Flanders. We also normally have the community of Vordingborg, Mazelde Island here, but due to logistical reasons, they had to come from the furthest, of course. They were not able to make it here. So now do I see Mark somewhere? I did see Mark before. Hi, Mark. Could you come to the stage, please? Thank you, Mark. So, Mark, perhaps as a small introduction for the Kleine Nete, you're not from a port authority here. You're not even representing an area where there is a port. I just learned that Lier still has its own yacht marina, but that's a little bit it. So your challenges are a bit different from the other ones we've heard so far. Could you tell us a bit more about them?
Okay, thank you, Wouter. I'm Mark Flores from the Flanders Environment Agency. And we have a pilot area around Kleine Nete in the Flemish region. It's near to Herentals. Herentals is a small city. Maybe you know that Wout van Aert is born and lives in this small town. Okay, so our pilot area is about the Kleine Nete. The Kleine Nete is a typical lowland river, very nice, clean, so we are lucky, but also vulnerable because we have a good water plant vegetation in our water, but we have also high Water Framework Directive goals and also Habitat Directive goals. We hope and we need to reach the good ecological status on this river in 2027. And the river, because it's so clean, she's also very popular for canoeing and kayaking activities. And we think, and we have a hypothesis, that too much recreation can undermine our goals for the Habitat Directive and the Water Framework Directive. In 2018, we made an agreement with the government, with the Flemish agencies, and also with the rental firms and the municipalities about the responsible use for the river. And there are a lot of do's and don'ts on the river, but some recreation people and the firms do not agree with all the goals, and sometimes it gives a lot of discussions. Mm-hmm. So there's something about our case.
Okay, thank you for that, Mark. So the Kleine Nete, as we just heard, so it's not a challenge so much about, let's say, recreational versus commercial use and so on. It's rather human versus non-human interests that need to be defended there. And I think from all the pilot areas, again, you are the one which has most experience in managing there. And can you share with us a little bit of the, let's say, both things that led to success, but also some of the hardships you might have had in trying to combine these two interests? So what has worked, what hasn't worked in the past?
We have a lot of regional gebiedsgericht overleg, regional areas. Yeah, but we have a lot of meetings.
In the Netherlands, they call that polderen. Yeah.
Maar ik ga het anders in het Nederlands doen misschien.
Well, I'll try to translate as much as possible for you.
Ja, we hebben heel veel lokaal overleg met de partners en op zich lukt dat wel goed, maar we zoeken naar de juiste manieren om ook diegenen die het moeilijkste bereiken zijn, te bereiken. En dat hopen we te doen met een aantal nieuwe technologieën en communicatiestrategieën.
So the main challenge here is that there are some regional fora, local fora, let's say, where you can have these meetings and where you can go polderen a little bit. That it's sometimes still hard to reach the actual users, if I'm correct, because it's the people in a canoe, and that's actually the thing I think of. Once you move a little bit from Antwerp to the Kempen, especially in the weekend, it seems that everyone is on the water somehow. They're either in these rubber boats or whatever. And it's very hard to reach these users. And so what Mark just told me is that they're looking towards digital technology and therefore a connected river to really reach those users and have an impact on their use as well. So I see that we've also, we have 6 seconds left. So timing-wise, almost there. Any last things that you would like to share, Mark, about what you would like to get out of the project and to learn from your peers as well? Aside from this communication aspect?
Well, we hope to learn a lot about our solution partners, more in detail about possible digital possibilities. How can we better communicate with our users, with our rental firms, and we hope to learn about new innovation technologies to hope to create in our region.
Yeah, okay. Challenge accepted. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
So now I give the floor back to our lovely host.
Thank you, Wouter. Let's put our hands together for him. You've got to love the international vibe here, don't you? With all the accents, all the language barriers, and then just smoothly speaking French just in between. Pretty amazing, and I love the fact that everybody of you was so open with the different perspectives on what your challenges are, who your users are, but also kind of like where you are standing right now, and that's what this project is all about. One thing you guys all had in common, though, was the thing talking about we're very user-centric, we're trying to understand our users, they're difficult to reach. And right now, everybody who looked at the agenda, we are now going to talk about this thing. What is user-centric experimenting to solve those challenges? And in order to do that, we'll have a little panel up here, and Jelma de Lange, come on up here, is going back up to the stage, telling us a little bit about it. Jelma, you've already been up here. You told us about Amsterdam already.
That's correct. Yeah.
So my question is, everybody wants to work with users. Why is it so important in your eyes that we actually do that?
Well, it's scary, I can tell you that, to do experiments with users, because you're going out there with a product that's not finished, and probably it's not really working very well, and so you think, what am I doing? Am I doing something stupid here, or is it really going to be meaningful? But in my experience, those days are very, very meaningful, because you learn a lot if you show your prototype to users by doing so. You make a lot of mistakes as well, but in the end you learn a lot from them. So it's necessary to do that instead of staying at your desk and theorizing how it should have been done.
Okay, well then I just leave you the stage for your little panel for the next 45 minutes.
Yes, well, Luckily, I'm co-leading this work package together with Remco Lenstra because I learned from mistakes, but Remco is a professor in innovation and has a background in design thinking. So
also learning from mistakes.
Also learning from mistakes, I guess.
No discreet.
But yeah, he'll introduce.
Also learning from mistakes.
Himself.
Yeah.
The floor is yours, Remco.
So thank you.
Go ahead.
So thank you. No, basically, Jelmer asked me to give a small introduction on working with stakeholders, and I will do this from a very some pointers and some experiences, best practices on working with stakeholders before we go into the, let's say, the panel discussion. So he only gave me 15 minutes, so I prepared only 2 slides, and then I prepared 30 slides to back them up. So we will see how far we will get. But anyway, listen, engaging stakeholders in ecosystems. This slide we can skip really quickly. That's me. I work at Antwerp Management School, and I work in design thinking. And you might think, why is somebody with a design background trying to help us now intervening in these complex systems? Well, that's basically because when I graduated from university, I was a furniture designer making very simple products. But actually design has been growing in its capacity to attack more and more complex ecosystems and to really provide structure in the approach of tackling very complex problems. Now, if I were to share with you my key learnings about, let's say, working in complex networks with stakeholders, you have a couple of, let's say, randvoorwaarden in het mooi Nederlands, so constraints or let's say, things you need. You need an alignment on purpose. You need a shared understanding of the process that you're going through. You need an optimistic and future-oriented attitude. You need the A-team with a strong innovation culture. You need skills and capabilities across the network. And you need intentional experiments. Now, to go into that a little bit more, alignment on purpose. A system in itself, a complex system, has a purpose, but no morals. Basically, when the system, when we look out here outside, is creating pollution, creating unhappy users, it is doing so because of the way it is built. It is an effect of the system and the way it is functioning at the moment. So in order to have the system produce, let's say, more of the desired outcomes and less of the undesired outcomes, it needs a network of people to intervene in the system to make it behave in a way that suits where we are going. So that's the first thing. If we want to align on something, we need to align on purpose, and we need to also try to influence the system to start producing the things that are conducive to the goals that we have all been trying to put forward. And aligning on purpose basically means, and I borrow this a little bit from Singularity University, a purpose basically is the higher aspirational purpose of a network of organizations capturing the hearts and minds of those both inside and outside of the organization. And basically, when you have a purpose, when you know where you are going, on the inside of your organization, people will start behaving like missionaries. They will start, by intrinsic motivation, helping you to reach this purpose. But also within networks, outsiders of the organizations will start creating a little bit between missionaries and creating emotional attachment. So basically, you need a purpose to create a movement in people. You need alignment on purpose to have people unite and to try to reach this purpose. A second thing, what you need is a common understanding of process, and this is something that will be touched upon multiple times within the workshops that we will be doing throughout these 3 days. And we are trying to build a new process of attacking these innovation projects. And I think, Ruud, you're also going to touch upon this one, and Wouter is also going to touch upon this one. But we are trying to build a new process, a new shared process across all the partners that are working within this project. So more on that later, but this is the preliminary design of the process that we are building for this project. You need an optimistic and a future-oriented attitude. You can only make a change if you don't give up, if you are happy with the results that you reach, or the successes you have, and you don't let the setbacks hold you back. So I'm not going to read all of this to you, but if you look at the characteristics of design thinking, which is my job, then you see the mentality of it. It is experimental and explorative. It is ambiguity tolerant, so we're not afraid of the unknown. It's optimistic and future-oriented. And I truly believe that this is the kind of mindset that will create positive change in the world. So basically, if you look at all the things that have to do with design thinking, if you only remember one thing is, if we are optimistic about the future and experiment forward, we can really create the effects that we want to create. You need skills and organizational capabilities. Well, design thinking is design, but also for non-designers. I think by bringing design thinking as a united approach across all these teams, that we can create not only a shared understanding of how to innovate, but also create a shared language in innovation. And I think this is really important. If we want to work together, we need a common approach, and we need a shared language to innovate in. And how I usually do this is I teach people tools like personas and customer journeys and prototyping tools. But actually, these tools are put in processes, and these processes require communication. And before you know it, this communication will start creating structures of cooperation. And before you know it, you're actually creating a culture. And by experiencing these tools, by having successes in these processes, by getting better at communicating and having this unified language across innovation projects, we actually create a creative and a transformative confidence within the ecosystem that we are working in. And this, for me, is the way that I use design thinking. Introducing design thinking on a tools and process level, but actually creating a common language and a common culture around innovation. And this is one of the big advantages that we have here today. Being so many partners from across Europe, we are now creating a shared understanding of process, but also a common language and a common approach to innovation. And we are exchanging our ideas about how this works to create something that is worth more than our individual experiences. And we need intentional experiments. Well, I'm not going to say too much about experience, but futures are created one action, one conversation, one cooperation, and one project at a time. And for me, this is what it's about. When a complex ecosystem, you want to make it produce the positive outcomes and you want to make it produce less of the negative outcomes, well, it needs interventions and experiments to try to reach that. And I'm not going to give too much of a lesson about, let's say, the future cone of Voros, if you've ever seen this process. But if this is the process, if we are here, and this is a multitude of possible futures, and this is the most likely future that is going to happen, and this is the future that we desire to do, well, actually, by creating experiments, by inserting actions right now, by doing stuff together right now, we can influence the probability of our desired future becoming the most probable future. And this is how I like to attack these experiments. If we want a certain future to become the reality, we need to start acting like it's going to be the reality, and we will be conducive to it becoming the reality. Now, how to tackle a problem in a network context? First of all, you need to determine the network and the project boundaries. So my second slide was this, by the way. This is my second slide. Determine the project and network boundaries, map the network actors and design stakeholder engagement, create ownership and accountability, adopt a generative and co-creative approach, and co-create this win-win. Well, what I'm basically saying here is these are basically how you can design a stakeholder involvement process to produce the maximum result. And first of all, you need to determine what the project's about. And that's not that easy in a multi-stakeholder context because everybody has a different point of view on a very big problem. So the first thing you need to do is to make sure that you all align on what are you looking at. Is this an elephant? Is this an elephant? What are we looking at? The first thing we need to somehow design. The second thing is we need to map our networks and design our stakeholder engagement. So once we have decided on this is the context, we also have to find out who lives here. Which are the stakeholders that are currently present within this ecosystem? And we map them and we design their involvement. This is not something I'm going to explain to you today, but it's the user-centered innovation roadmap, which basically is a tool for designing stakeholder involvement that will also be actively used within the project that we are doing. And just one question for you. If you look at this, imagine I'm a pharmaceutical company and I have my stakeholders here, the doctor, the patient, the administrator, the family, the pharmacist, the nurse. Which one is the most important according to you? Which one? Patient? Why? Yeah, because? They get the benefit from what you're offering. Okay, somebody else have another opinion? All of them? Why? It's an ecosystem. And also, who is the most important? Well, it depends on which question you want to solve or which problem you want to tackle. If I want to influence the prescription behavior of the pharmacist, well, then the patient is less important. So basically, whatever problem you want to tackle, other stakeholders become important. And this is really important. In an ecosystem, you have stakeholders. But which ones do you involve in which project? And there's an art to it, to involving stakeholders. The most basic way of deciding whether stakeholders should be put into the co-creation process is basically based on the power-interest grid. Do they have power and do they have interest in what you are doing? And of course, if they have a lot of power and a lot of interest, you should involve them intensely. But there is a multitude of possible strategies to look at stakeholders. So basically managing all these strategies to make sure how you work with actors within innovation processes is a second thing, which is really important, and it's an art form in itself. You don't only have the power-interest grid, but you also have initiating actors, following actors. You have collaborative actors and opposed actors. And how do you create a stakeholder involvement process that will actually create a coalition of the willing and an ownership by the end of the process? So creating ownership and accountability. An ecosystem by itself is an interdependent network of self-interested actors jointly creating value. So basically, we're all a bunch of selfish people trying to create something for ourselves together. Not completely, because jointly we are creating value in a way that no single actor would be able to do. So we have this conflict of individual interests and communal interests, and how do we manage this to a certain extent? There's a lot of experience in social innovation already. And also in normal, or more, let's say, commercial innovation processes, this is also growing. So also a thing that we need to do is to take assets and competences over hierarchy. I try to design my innovation processes based on what people have to offer to the process, not to the position they have in hierarchies. So basically, if you have something to offer to the table, if you have a mandate, if you have a skill, then you are invited. And you also need to be really clear on accountability. Because this is where a lot goes wrong. We need to somehow create ownership within an innovation process. And this is also something that often goes wrong. I've been facilitating innovation processes for a long time now. And what I really want to avoid to happen is that people are looking at me as the owner of the project. Ooh, what? Ooh. Was this my timing? My timing? I still have 2 or 3 minutes, because I started a little bit late too. Okay. Okay. And by the way, I'm almost there. Adopt a generative and a co-creative approach. This is really important for me. It's the mindset of adopting a generative approach. When we are working together, we will not be able to advance by criticizing each other's contributions to the process, but we will be able to combine by adding to the process. So adopting this yes and attitude instead of this yes but attitude, by not saying I don't like, but say I would have liked. We have to create a language that actually keeps the momentum of the process of the innovation project going forward. So also in the way we speak and we interact with each other, we need to make sure that we do not break the momentum of the innovation process. And this is really important. So if we are saying in this project, be like water, actually we are trying to manage the flow, but we're not trying to stop it. We are trying to make some interventions. In Dutch they say stenen in de rivier verleggen. Daar zijn liedjes over. But anyway, what we are trying to do is we are trying to manage these interventions to reach a certain goal. And this is probably what I want to say. So when I'm saying adopt a generative approach, so the tools and the methods, but also the mindset, this also means that we have a lot of fun in building and prototyping and doing all this stuff by adding as much as we can. And this is actually what I wanted to tell.
Well,
Just
thank
in time?
you. Well, perfectly in time. Thank you, Remco. And please stay with us on the stage. That was a really nice lecture, and I think everyone in the crowd agrees. I hope it's not the last. It's really great to have you on board in Connected River for the coming 4 years. I think we can really learn a lot from you and from Wouter as our knowledge and methodological partners. As you can see, some chairs are positioned because we're going to do two things. We're going to see if the audience understood most of what you've said or if they still have some questions. And we're going to ask a few members of the Connected River project to see if they can work with the things you've shared. I hope there's another chair because we're going to be with 4 in the panel. Eileen, if you don't mind, I'm going to grab one.
I didn't know about this situation, so I'm okay with standing if that's okay.
Perfectly fine.
But I'll join them.
Yeah, some new faces and some familiar faces. Maybe it's good to introduce Stanley and Ruth, and also Eileen, maybe you can shortly repeat what your role in Connected River is. But let's start with Stanley.
I think I do need a microphone.
Sorry.
Thank you, Jelmer. So I'm Stanley Kelder, and I'm the innovation coach in this pilot area Amsterdam for Connected River. I started about 1 year ago when it was Digital River, it was the pre-European phase, and now I've grown with them to Connected River, and I'm trying to help them innovate in a proper way.
Thank you. I'm Ruud Kosman. I work for Innoval Advies, a Dutch research-based consultancy company focusing on innovation management. I had the pleasure to build a national program with Benno, amongst others, the Digitale Rivier, which was the starting point for the EU project. And in this project, I'm focusing on the innovation and the approach behind it, Flow Forward.
Yeah, and I just introduced myself, so.
I don't know which one to use now, but I'll just use this.
Maybe give it back to Ruud.
Jullie mogen in 2 stemmen zingen.
So yeah, my name is Eileen Schmuck, and I already told you I'm working at the Digital Hub Logistics in Hamburg. We're an ecosystem that fosters innovation for logistics and supply chain. And within this ecosystem, I'm in charge of innovation between startups and corporates to bring them together to solve problems of corporates, but also to help those startups to grow. And from my background, I study business psychology, so I also have a design thinking background working with innovation management across industries. So it's interesting to practice that within the logistics sector.
Thank you. Well, you may have some questions to Remco, as he talked really quick about a lot of things about innovation and all that comes by. But please hold your questions for a short moment, because I'm going to start with a statement, and there you can use your red and green cards again. I also introduced myself earlier. I work for Rijkswaterstaat, and well, maybe fun fact, our organization is almost 225 years old, which means that you could say we're really good in asset management, in traffic management, in writing procedures, in doing things safe. But all the things Remco said, well, I can imagine they're necessary, but I wouldn't say that we're really great in those things. And I can imagine that is also the case for some of you in the audience, for the organizations you work for. So my first statement is, the world is seeing a lot of challenges that are going really fast, and our large organizations, are they able, so the statement is they are unable, to innovate in the pace with the current rapid changes. So if you agree with this statement, please show a green statement card, and if you don't agree, make it a red one. Okay. I would say the majority is green, which means, but if you have a red one, please keep it up. Okay, so that's quite a few red ones, so they don't agree. And if you are willing to motivate your answer, could you please hold up your card? It's quite a few, maybe someone I haven't heard before. I know you're a Bart. Sorry, you need a mic, that's true, yeah.
Yes, I'm Bart Bosman from the province of the Northern Holland, and I think we need both. Also small innovation companies to innovate, but in the end we need also the bigger organizations to embed the proven ones, I think 90% of the innovations are worthless and disappear, and the best 10% has to be involved into the big Rijkswaterstaat or provinces or other big countries to explore and to be embedded and used by the bigger public.
All right, that sounds like a reasonable answer. Thank you, Bart. I didn't really see, but what were your chosen cards, Ruud? You had a green one and Eileen a red one. Okay, okay,
right.
Interesting.
Let's start a discussion.
Who wants to start?
Should I?
Sure.
Are we on a battle now?
We are.
I think it's really harsh to say they are unable to innovate in pace. Because it depends on what you think, like how they have to innovate. Does the whole organization have to work like that? Or is it within different organizational aspects? We see different corporates who are major, big corporates, and they have intelligent people in their teams who know about design thinking as well, who know how to work agile, who know what's going on outside in the world. And they know that their organizations have complex structures, processes, different cultures and mindsets, but they still try to innovate, and they still do it with outside speedboats, different organizational aspects, incubators. They are part of open innovation ecosystems and stuff. They might not change their whole organization, but they try to disrupt their industry with new startups, innovations, and whatsoever. They still kind of push and they still feed and everything, but it seems like it's from the outside, but it's still changing their company. So I do think they are doing that, just in a different manner than their regular daily business. But you want to?
Sure. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we work for a lot of large companies as well, so both public and private. So if it is or for banks, insurance companies, or governmental organizations, what we see is that the business model is really old, and the services that they are creating came from the fact and the time that markets were not so complex. And what we see is that it's growing in complexity, and it's quite difficult to innovate in a more complex way. And what we see is that the culture is more focused on efficiency because it was not so complex, it was more faster going. And what we see is that the culture is more on efficiency instead of change or innovation. Slowly, we see that all those large companies see that they have to change, that they need to change, and especially working together with startups, with all small companies, and also they start really investing in the innovation capabilities. So really inside the company to grow, to know how to innovate and push all those small boats or get them inside the company. So I think they are learning and they start doing that, but there's a long way to go with it.
Okay. Good to hear that there's still hope for the larger companies as well, even though you agreed with the statement. And thanks for that. Are there so far any questions on the keynote speech of Remco that you would like to ask? If you do, please show me your hand or your card, because then this is the moment for it.
In the process of the framework that you have shown us, in your experience, what are the most difficult steps that you have to overcome?
Well, I think so there's two things. Things are always difficult when you didn't solve them beforehand. So basically, it's the definition of lean, by the way, front loading. But basically, what is the biggest issue that I sometimes encounter is that a hidden agenda interferes midway in the process. So I invest a lot of energy in the beginning of processes to really frame the project really well, and to deliberately unearth the hidden agendas, and saying that hidden agendas are perfectly allowed within an ecosystem. And that you can voice what you want to get out of it for yourself, not only what you get out of it for the ecosystem. And by combining what you want to get out of it for yourself and being upfront and open about it, Well, you can create a common denominator by adding to each other. But if you're not upfront and honest and open about it, then it will bite you in the end. And this is for me one of the biggest problems that I often see, and that I deliberately try to tackle. But by the way, there's nothing as difficult as working with people. So basically, it's nice to talk about it from a theoretical perspective. That doesn't make it any easier. But the fact that you have some meta-understanding of the processes that are going to also help you to manage or interfere with the process a little bit better. But my biggest concern always is, when will the hidden agenda that I didn't know of suddenly throw a spanner in the works? Yeah.
Thank you. I hope that answers your question. I also have a question for you, Remco, and maybe for the panel as well, based on your introduction on user-centric innovation. We try to apply it here, trying to find the right users, but there are also a lot of stakeholder organizations. So the challenge is it my user, or is it the user of another organization? And do I have the right user in front of me, or is this maybe a nice user, but I should have talked to another one? So what I see is maybe there are 1 million users per year at the eye, and quite a few organizations that are concerned about them. How do you apply user-centric innovation in such a crowded, multi-stakeholder area?
Yeah. First of all, the most difficult thing is that first you need to be able to draw a circle around the area, because if you don't have some kind of boundary, then you cannot make an inventory of who lives there. And then you can make an inventory of who lives there, basically meaning make an inventory of all the stakeholders that are there. And then the difficult thing is, how can you involve them? Some of them are users, some of them are people that are actually wanting to contribute to the innovation process and want to become an owner or an operator or whatever. So we have all these different let's say, roles that can be taken up. So for me, how do you apply it? Well, with a lot of difficult, slowly, and basically deliberately, intentionally trying to design the process to the best of our ability. And one of the things, for example, if we're talking about user-centered design, we're talking about, for example, creating solutions for an individual stakeholder that is using the river. Well, that's actually the easier. You still have to learn, But it's also creating this momentum where people who have never met before, in the end, will want to co-create a final result, and also want to keep on operating it beyond the lifespan of the innovation project itself. This is also, let's say, a very difficult movement that we somehow need to create. So you need to learn from your users to know what their needs are. You need to co-create with your users to develop a solution. You need to validate with your users, but you also need to create ownership and, let's say, a movement towards longevity of the project that you have created. And this is the hard thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Stanley, we are working here together. How do you apply this problem?
So I think what Remco says, indeed, that since there are so many different parties, different stakeholders, different users, the startup phase takes just a long time, because you need to map all of them. And you need to understand what the different groups are, what are the stakeholders, what are the users. But then in practice, after you've actually taken the time to do this, after you understand this ecosystem, then it's really important to start doing short-cycled user testing, as we try to do in Connected River. So really, as Jelmer also said, start going to the user as soon as you have a prototype, go out there and ask for feedback, and do this a lot. There's a saying that most people know: fail fast, fail often. I would say in this case, test often, learn fast. Just keep doing that. And if you do that, you get a lot of information, but you'll also be able to adapt a lot and really steer the solution of the problems you're facing within the ecosystem of all the stakeholders towards a direction that everyone can be happy about.
Maybe one extra thing that I can give to is what I have learned over time is to get off my high horse and to think that I have to manage the stakeholder perspective from a top-down approach. So basically, sometimes when you do When you start a project, you do a stakeholder mapping, but you're somewhere in your office and you're thinking about the context and trying to map the stakeholders, and then you invite them to a room. But what you then need to do is to ask them to redo your work, because they know the context. They can map their stakeholders. So who am I from my office to say this is a stakeholder context? I have to ask them, did I do it correctly? And did I forget to invite? And who should we involve in this project? And this is something that is really important. It's transferal of ownership to the group.
Yeah, I can recognize that definitely. Are there any other questions you would like to ask to Remco or to the panel? So I think we continue with another statement then. So please take your cards again. So we're talking about innovation, and one of the difficulties here is that how do you control your cost and results if you don't really know what the end product is going to be like? And the statement here is it's impossible to control cost and results in agile innovation. If you agree, show me the green one, and if you don't, make it red. Okay. I see most of you have chosen a red one. If you're a green card, could you hold it up if you wish to enlighten us with your why you agree? Yeah.
No, you need a mic.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, hello. In my opinion, control and agility doesn't match very well, so that's why I voted green.
Is that based on experience or?
Just all the theory, all the books I've read about.
All the books you've read about. Okay, well, quite a few people disagree, also here in the panel. So maybe they can change your mind. Ruud, what was your opinion? Thank you. Sorry.
I had a red card because I don't think you get a carte blanche with agile innovation. Unfortunately, sometimes. You do have to set goals, and also in the Connected River project, for example, we do have milestones. We have a board, the pilot area board, who sets the goals, who set the direction. You have to ask for budget, people. You have to set clear goals. You don't know what comes out of it. That's true. Like half of it is true, but we have some milestones that you have to reach, and also you can after each innovation cycle you have to evaluate and review what's going well, what didn't go well, and you also can stop. And that's different from a linear project normally, where you just start and there's no turning back or way back. And here you can be more efficiently even to even quit quite early in an early stage, and even save money instead of spend it all in just one linear project.
Okay. Sounds interesting. Maybe Ronald was already convinced, but Eileen, you were on the other side.
Come on,
I have. Don't do it. It was difficult. Like, this one is difficult, right? Like, I think we have similar thoughts on it, because control and costs and results, like, it depends on how you control, I feel like. If it is, I know we have a project for 4 years, right? And I know we have kind of a set amount of time, resources, and everything. And within that, it's possible to control something. But what if something really amazing comes out and we have like a crazy new technology which matches the exact demands, and the return on investment, in the other hand, like matches what all the input we have to put in. So I think it is difficult, because depending on specific use cases and the return on investments, like a major, bigger input could be worth it. And you could convince sometimes a CEO or a CFO maybe, because you can calculate a case depending on the case. So it there is like, you know, this thing happening. I know you can control it and I know you can have budgets, but most budgets are for years or a year or something. And it is difficult and it leaves out some opportunities. But that's just very difficult, I think, in general.
If I might add, you can always budget for innovation even if you don't know what you're going to make yet. Yeah. And innovation is always done within constraints. So even if you budget it too little, you can still do a lot within the constraints of innovation. So there's some possibilities there. And on top of that, of course, in innovation, you have things like reverse financials that can make you calculate back from the revenue stream that you want towards the opportunity cost, towards the cost of investment, that can help you give some feeling of control. And this is enough for innovation.
Yeah. All right. Stanley, do you feel there might be a mismatch between the budgets we have and the ambition or ideas that we want to prototype or upscale?
A mismatch between the budget and the ideas. I actually think this is a common misconception about agile innovation. And I think the misconception comes from the people in the said ivory tower. Yeah, it is impossible to think of a solution from up there and expect the solution to be implemented in exactly that way for exactly the budget you plan for it. So in that way you can never control it. But I think that holds for any model you work in. What I do think is really important is that we start thinking about the result in a slightly different way. The result is not a set solution that we think of beforehand and then start implementing. A result is just any solution to a problem that we face. So we do need to realize what the problems we are facing, what are the problems, and for which users and which stakeholders, again, in this ecosystem. And if we really understand the problem, then we can start innovating to a solution. And maybe that solution will change after a year of work, after some short cycles experiments. But I think in that way you can actually do control really well, that you actually find a result, a solution to the problem you are facing, instead of just trying to implement a solution you think of beforehand.
All right. Sounds like something we can work with for the next few years.
Maybe I can even add a small example that we did in Amsterdam. So we created an app that was already explained before, and we will use it later. I think everyone or almost everyone here. First, we wanted to develop this for a big event that was going to happen in 2020. But surprise, surprise, 2020, there are not many events anymore in the world. So we had to adapt, right? And if we would have planned everything ahead, then this would have been a huge problem. But since we have been developing it in short cycles, we could easily adapt in a way that we were not developing it for this one big event anymore, but in general for busy periods here on this river, actually. So I think that really helped us in Amsterdam to get the result we wanted without a solution that we thought of beforehand.
Yeah, good example, thank you. Thank you, panel members. I think most of the people in the group already had quite an afternoon and maybe are looking forward to have a cup of coffee or a toilet break. But before we do so, please give an applause to Stanley, Ruud, Remco and Eileen. And if I'm correct, the coffee break is just right here.
Yeah.
And we continue at 4 o'clock. So yeah, please enjoy a short break.
The official sound, and everybody who's still at the bar, just grab whatever you need and just come back to your seats. And whoever is closest to the door, maybe you can close the door. All right. Welcome back to the second half of the afternoon. I think, no. The voice people tell me no. Can I continue, or do you need to adapt something? I can also take this. Okay. Super agile over here. So I hope everybody is fueled up with coffee, water, food, and whatever you need, and most of all with inspiring conversations and maybe the first friends you already made, as we learned this is so important in this project. We will continue, and you see the agenda. It's going step by step further towards uptake digital smart solutions. Honestly, when I see this title, I don't know what it means either. But I'm pretty sure, Thomas, you can tell me what are you going to talk about, what's going to happen in the next 45 minutes.
Yes, first of all, hi, moin, and a very warm welcome from me as one of the stakeholders in the consortium as well. As you already heard, my name is Thomas. I'm from a partner that has not been on stage yet, from the Logistics Initiative Hamburg. We are a partner that will be coordinating the project level communication with my wonderful new colleague Verena. She is shyly in the back there, but she will probably be very much in touch and communicating with all of you. And then also we're gonna coordinate a work package that is called the uptake of solutions that we will develop in the project. So being on a kick-off meeting, telling you about the solutions that we don't have the ecosystems installed yet, and we don't have the experiments done yet. A little spoiler maybe, or an expectation management, I won't be able to show you any of the project solutions today, but instead I want to show you some little insights and inspiration of ways that we will tackle within the project with our beautiful partnership that you have been seen of host partners and solution partners. And looking into those aspects, I have described them as physical infrastructure, methods, analytics, and digital tools. And maybe also something that you heard a lot already today, and what I think is very inspiring and unique about the project is that when you look at all those three aspects, that we will have little keynotes and videos and presentations in the next 45 minutes, is they are all very much related to the user centricity and to the ecosystems, because all of them, when you look at them, it's very important to have the user and the people in them at the end. So for physical infrastructure, you can already see, maybe you can recognize that picture from earlier. So we will hear about the HomePod area and some physical infrastructure that also Benno found very inspiring during the proposal phase, because it says Maritime Innovation Campus and experimentieren and prototypisieren on the website. So that's basically what you do. You have a physical infrastructure where people are able to test things. They can see it, they can feel it, they can grab it and make experiences. So it's very hands-on, and that's also something in terms of innovation uptake and actually implementing something, involving them, and also sometimes taking the fear for a new technology or for a new solution is a very good thing. We'll have a very nice introductory video about that in a second, and then we'll have the wonderful Pantian on stage to give us a keynote on that. And then we'll come to the second topic. I called it methods and analytics, so it's basically competences. We heard that already earlier. It's not something that just happens. You really have to have a structure, and you have to have guidelines and tools to bridge that gap from an innovation idea or a direction that you go to have something implemented, especially when, as we also learned already, you have a complex ecosystem and you want to involve it and you want to make sure it's user-centric. then this really is a hard nut to crack. And we'll have some insights on that from Maria from Ecoloop, one of our solutions partners as we are, and she will be very active in helping our host partners throughout the project to see how can we move your ideas and your innovations that you have been experimenting to actually implementing them or getting them on to a next level of having them in your self-sustaining ecosystem at some point. And then the third thing that's very hands-on as well, if we want to develop smart and digital tools, you'll actually have to do that at some point. And we don't have any tools developed at this moment, but we have PortPay as a solution partner with us in the partnership, and we'll see some nice inspiration of a tool that is already been used and that is already in place, and we'll also hear some insights on how this is working and maybe how the challenges for this were and why this has been developed, and we'll have Celestine from PortPay on that as well, showing it in a second. So the next slide that we have is the faces that you'll see in the next 45 minutes. I introduced them already. And yeah, that is basically already what I have to say for the minute. That's also not so bad for my voice, as you might have heard. It's not the best today. We didn't have a party last night. It's just, I don't know. It didn't travel from Hamburg with me, so I kind of lost it. So yeah, let us quickly have a look into the video of Homeport, and then when the video is finished, you can already welcome Pantian onto stage with a little applause.
Innovation and new technology at the heart of the Port of Hamburg. That's what Homeport Hamburg's about. Innovation made in Hamburg is happening here, shaping the port's future together. More now in a new edition of Port is What We Do.
It's the first birthday for the Homeport, the place to be for innovative solutions for Hamburg and the port.
Dr. Pantian Zuzongdam is one of the trailblazers here. She's head of the Port Process Solution Department at the Hamburg Port Authority. If you show off all this technology so that people can touch it and get familiar with it, they're not as cautious about it as they were. It creates a lot more acceptance and arouses people's curiosity. That's important because innovation involves curiosity, courage, and of course, actually doing it. Drone projects, 3D printing, robotics, virtual reality, and augmented reality. You can find the latter in the construction of interactive windows for shipping with real virtual added value. It enables you to see how objects are approaching you on the water. And that means you can react to them in time. New this time around is what they call the Makerspace. It allows visitors to touch new technologies and try them out. It's true to the motto, Port is what we do. We really do get on with it. Take the shore-based power facilities or Homeport here. We just start, we try things out, we test. We don't hang about. I think that's a major advantage. Drones already play a key role in the Port of Hamburg, for example, to survey the maintenance needs of buildings and bridges, and they'll be deployed in new areas in the future. Imagine there's a tidal surge and you can send out the drone quickly to assess the situation, what emergency services are required. Today, we'd send them all out because you can't see what's required. But with these drones, we can get an accurate picture of what resources we need to commit. I'm particularly impressed how many companies here have been developing business models and applications that are scalable, that you can actually use. Homeport is like a laboratory to show and demonstrate how things work, and also allow you to experience them. Bringing together companies, startups, universities and research, and creating networks between them. That's the goal of Homeport. So, a happy birthday to it, following its successful first year. Innovation doesn't happen by talking about it, you have to act as well.
Port is what we do.
And this Maritime Tech Festival will happen again on the 22nd of June this year. Please mark your calendar already now, and then we will see each other in Hamburg. So Marius already told you about HomePort, but before I will dig a little deeper into that, I would like to give you some of motivation why we have done that. How many of you have already been to Hamburg? Your green card or your... So, lots of you already been there. That's great. And if you know about the Hamburg port, Hamburg is at the same time the deep sea port of the Germany, but also the river port, the second largest river port in Germany. And that's why we are the urban industrial area at once. And that is actually the main challenge that we are facing within this area. This is the 1/10 big, or the size of the port itself is really large in comparing to other cities that you have to deal with as an industrial area. We also claim that the Hamburg port is one of the biggest connected industrial zone in Europe. And to the Port of Hamburg and the Hamburg Port Authority, the port ecosystem is quite complex. When everyone is coming to Hamburg and talk about the ecosystems and stakeholder structures in the port, so everyone is crashing their heads because they are not be able to differentiate between the terminal operators, the port operators, and also different other logistics stakeholders within the port. And the HPA is the only one who is taking care of the port infrastructure and the traffic management in the port. And taking care of this area give us the opportunities also to grant the opportunities to our stakeholders in trying to do things. And we have been doing that for many years already as a living area, a living labs area. And as you could imagine how close the city and the port are, everyone that we are doing in the port, the people in the cities, they smell, they hear the voice of the port operations. They can see how the port operation is going on everyday life. And everyone like that. Is a river is like here, but you see the crane on the other sides of the river, also the port operation. And sometimes also annoying because if it's not a good odor or good smells, so then you have sometimes annoyance from the city. You have sometimes before that the cruise liners are still running at berth with their own diesel machine. You see really a very big black smoke out of the chimney. And that is actually the things that the people don't like. But everyone would like to live together in this good ecosystem, in good area, and how to do that together. And this is actually the challenge of the city, the port, and the citizen at the same time. And that is the challenge that we have take up in the 2012. 11 years ago, when we are talking about how to manage the logistic flows and also increasing demands of the capacities on the infrastructural area in Hamburg, we were talking, how should we do that? Because it's actually not easy. We cannot expand left and right. We have another Länder in Germany. You know about the federal structures, and you cannot expand by size. And that's why we have to use the intelligent way of how to utilize your resources. And that's why the initiative Smart Port has been initiated. 11 years later, we have done already over 40 innovation projects, and some of them has reached the maturity stage that they are rolled out into the real operations. And those of these innovation projects, they are not just the prototyping that you would see, but rather used in the real life of our colleagues nowadays that I will show you later. And by doing so, we have learned quite a lot of how to fail and how to succeed in different projects. And this is also our lessons learned journey that we have been also learning or have been experiencing from this innovation process along the way. And we know at the beginning we have to think big but act small. Incremental change will need also along your organization, need also in your ecosystem, how you could really take the people with you. And we haven't done everything right at the first place. So we know how to really tackle certain problems, certain challenges, and also are willing also to learn still from the others who have done better than us in the future. And this is also why we have come to the idea of HomePort. I mean, I still remember when Marius and his colleagues, Paulo, who is no longer with us anymore, come to us and then explain, oh, we would like to have a kind of a test or an InnoHub system. And I mean, at the management level, they were not really knowing what does it mean, what this journey would take us with us. And then we say, why not try out? And then we have take up this opportunity to try something new, which has never been done before in the Port of Hamburg. And we think that we cannot do this alone. We need partners. We could use the ecosystem that we already built up in the smart port and could probably transfer. I mean, the HomePort that you have seen, that is the MVP, the minimum viable product, and it still be tested, developed, and to see how the service could be accepted in the future by our user, by our customers. And at the end of the day, we would like to have a good, accepted, and also valuable service provided to the innovation maritime ecosystem in Hamburg. And that's why we see that the logistic companies and also the maritime organization will not be able to do this alone. They have to do their core business and daily routine. And that's why we would like to provide some certain services to help them accelerate their innovation process by offering this testbed in the Port of Hamburg. This tech playground actually is just a window. When you come to Port of Hamburg, when you go through the tunnel and appear to be at HomePort, then you will have already the feeling of being in the port directly after 10 minutes walk from the city. And that is where we could network, we could have an event. And the event that you saw in the video is one of examples that we would like to connect people to really engage people in our ecosystem, in our stakeholder group, and to see how new ideas could arise. We use this place and also other places in the Port of Hamburg to be a campus and testbed. So it is not just only that place that we could use to try out robotic solutions and some other stuff, but also some other locations which probably is more suitable for some other use cases could also be requested and also used in the Port of Hamburg. And we would like also to give the companies, our stakeholder, our ecosystem, to show their innovation mindset and to make their solution visible to the community. Because one of the core principles that when we are doing Smart Port initiative is that we are co-creating with people. We are thinking about the ecosystem, and we would like to work with the best people in the room. And that is actually where we try to see how we could engage the people who have best-in-class solution, and then to engage them within our port. This is the area, if you haven't been to HomePort yet. So this is the area. This is really a pop-up. The container can be moved at any time. And we are now thinking already about home port 2.0. And I don't know yet what it's going to be, but it will be also calculating some business case and to see how we can sustain these services in the port of Hamburg. And we have tried out different kind of services. And not all the service has been well accepted, but we are learning by offering and introducing this service bit by bit, and we are asking the feedback from the customer in each of the iteration that we have done. And by the ITS World Congress in October 21 was the launch of HomePort, and you could see already that is one of the big event where we introduce these services and make the people know about HomePort. And I think there is also a short, no, the video is not coming.
Wait a second. It should start automatically, but I'm not sure if it will. Maybe.
Because it's the one of the first medal flight of the volocopter carrying 200 kilograms cargo. You would see it online. There's another video.
But to mention that, the funny thing is that HHLA was promoting something like that about 2 years before, and everybody was laughing, why bringing containers to the air? It's not logical and physically not working. And then 2 years later, the development processes go further and further, and you have solutions like that you see on our website later on, and that's interesting.
Yeah,
and how fast sometimes the world is changing.
Yeah, and that's why we say, okay, there's a well reception of the HomePort at the ITS World Congress could give us like a kickstart into this service, but we are learning also, it is not a dream journey, so we have to learn and also to explore how we can sustain the service in the future. And that's why we will not do this alone. We need partners, we need ecosystems, and we are really trying heavily every day to attract people, to engage stakeholder, engage new organization, and to convince them why we are going to introduce this service and to partner with the core stakeholder in the Port of Hamburg who are best at their core job, like digital hub logistics in startup and co-working, with logistic initiative, with their logistic clusters and so on. And that is actually where we are standing right now. Yeah, so we are on our journey still, and I think from the Connected River, we can still learning a lot from you guys. I've already noted some of my takeaways from the previous session, and I think that along these 3-4 years that we are exploring new things together, at the end of the project, we will have a list, a bucket list, that we could really try out at our premise in each of the pilot location. Yeah, and to just closing, this is the things that we are right now having in operation in the Port of Hamburg already. We have these kinds of the surface drones and also the sub drones, where we are also working with the R&D institute like Fraunhofer CML. And we are going to the next phase where we are looking how we can make this a manufacturer series out of that. Yeah, so you could see these kinds of real demonstrations that take place. And as we already issue our permission ourselves, we could have we can frame some regulatory requirements of these kind of things in the port ourselves, but in a real condition. Yeah, so I love to see that we are connecting, and to see also maybe if you have some startups that you would like also to exchange with us in this case. I think this is a good platform that we could take up together. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Panti. And I think summing it up very shortly, based on the time, I for myself know HomePod quite well, but I hope you all also got quite a good insight and idea that it's great to bring an MVP, as you said, of a solution direction already into it with the infrastructure and the test facilities that we have. And now especially looking on this ecosystem topic and how can Connected River help us to create this ecosystem, as we learned, should be self-sustaining, because that's a real issue that we want to see, that this is not an MVP and a project that is not going to last, but that's a test bed that's going to grow and flourish and help the whole pod ecosystem to be more innovative. And I think that's a great vision also for the Connected River project. So thanks very much. And we'll dive directly into the methods and competences. And I won't say too much, but I'll just ask Maria on stage, and she'll give us a little glimpse into how EcoLoop from Stockholm, by the way, I haven't mentioned that before, will help our host partners throughout the project also to come to implementation of solutions that we will develop. So thank you very much. Oh, okay, you don't have that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, can I stand here and be heard? Perfect, thank you. So, let's see if I can. So, my name is Maria. I'm from EcoLoop. I'm here with my two colleagues today, Katarina and Bo, sitting over there. And I will talk a little bit about our methods and introduce EcoLoop to you. So, we are a consultancy firm. We're based in Stockholm, as Thomas said. And we drive change towards circular and sustainable systems. I will talk a little bit more about the background that we work in. Our clients and our collaborators are universities, municipalities, state agencies, and private companies. Oops. Things are going fast here, sorry. So the resource challenge, you are all familiar with today's challenges to sustainability. So by and large, we have linear system, we use a high degree of non-renewable resources, and we produce waste, which only a small fraction of it gets reused. And this is talking about, unfortunately, that we in Sweden use a lot more natural resources per capita. This is going automatically, I am so sorry. Per capita than Europe as a whole, because we have been fortunate to have a lot of resources and therefore inefficient. So we need to transform our resource use, and that kind of change can be very painful, but also beautiful. And it involves a lot of different people and actors and organizations, costs money, and more often than not, you run into conflicting goals, even among those who prioritize sustainability. So I'm not sure now if this runs automatically. Yeah. So starting a change process often feels like walking into deep fog. There are many pioneers and driving forces out there, but they can sometimes be a little bit lonely in their organizations. So we like to connect people and organizations, public and private, and invite them to go on innovation journeys with us and each other. And together we explore the possibilities for sustainable solutions. We dare walk into this fog and hopefully find ways together to navigate out beyond it. I think I'm just going to let this run now. We like to look at it in this picture. We have seen many pictures of innovation processes now. This is our way of looking at it, the arrow. We see our role as guide ideas for sustainable solutions, often these ideas coming from researchers or from pioneers in different organizations. Is there a way to make it stop going out? Yeah. And we do this through pre-studies, from first test and demonstrations and into implementation. So we journey along this arrow, and along the way we and our collaboration partners learn more, and the benefits increase from the ideas as they get wider implementation. So this looks very, very neat, but as you know, and as we heard today, reality is often much more complex than it looks like this. But we work with a stepping stone model. So we initiate projects as consultants, or we apply for R&D funds, and within each project, we always look for what the next step should be. That is our role, because ecosystems are very good at doing the projects themselves and finding the things to do. We try to look for the next step, always. And as many people have said here today, we always try to include all the major actors, public and private, who can influence the implementation of a solution. And along this way, we have to change methods. From pre-studies in the beginning, and we do material flow analysis because we work with sustainability, to demos and to business model canvases towards the end. So a lot of different, you have to be prepared to change the methods. And you also have to be prepared to change which people work on it. From the researchers in the beginning, to the early adopters, and to the main users and businesses along the way. And along the way, we also change consultants within Ecoloop who's guiding the process. So this is us, basically. We have backgrounds in R&D, in business, in natural sciences, engineering, urban planning, and economy. And we work with a lot of different resource flows and subjects. So from city planning and logistics, carbon storage in natural ecosystems, circular textiles, food waste to food production, rock and soil in construction, circular water treatment, drinking water quality, heavy transports on water, life cycle analysis of ski facilities, and electrification of heavy transports. So a big variation of subjects, but the same methods can be used to guide these journeys. So I'm going to give 2 examples of these journeys that we have undertaken. So rock and soil flows. Rock and soil materials is a huge material flow in society. Among half of the materials that we use per capita are rock and soil materials. And today these are handled in a very linear fashion. Take, make, dispose. And that leads to more use of land and quarries than needed and costly solutions to get rid of them. Oops. And in a circular system, the excavated rock and soil would get reused and replace as quarry materials. And this would be done close to where all these materials are needed and where they are excavated, close to where we are constructing, which would reduce transport costs and emissions. So this subject was initiated at Ecoloop many years ago, by among others, Bo Svedberg. We have worked with a variety of projects and partners in this. So along the way with Stockholm Royal Seaport, Stockholm City, it's a big construction area, to demonstrate facilities to reuse the material and get it reused. We've reached up to 60%. We've worked with making prognosis tools for mass balances and calculating the effects, which is very important to get people on board to see how this actually would benefit them. We've looked at how to transport things on water. I mean, I looked out the windows and I see this happening all the time here. It's not the case in Stockholm. So we had to, again, convince people that this is a great idea by making these calculations. And we're happy to see that this is now starting to happen also in Stockholm. And the second and last solution example is climate change adaptation. This is a newer journey. It's led by my colleague, Katarina. It aims at guiding a tool that has been developed actually first in Holland and then continued to be developed by KTH in Stockholm. And it aims to help municipalities plan for climate change adaptation. And especially in uncertainties where you don't actually know how the climate change will affect your area. Just to see this, that we're working with a large group of municipalities in Sweden to test these methods. And thank you for listening, and thank you for putting up with this chaotic presentation behind me. But those of us who are working directly with this project right now, this is us four. But of course, you can talk to any of our colleagues also. And thank you for listening.
So, Maria, thank you very much as well. I'm very happy that, as you heard, you're called EcoLoop, so it's quite straightforward that we have some competences on it that are on the ecological basis and on circular economy. I think that's also a very relevant topic with competences for all of our host partner regions, and it's very helpful to have you on the way with them, guiding them with the right tools and competences. And I also very much like the picture with the fog, a very Nordic picture of you daring to step into the fog, so we'll be happy to step into that with you. So thanks so much. And then last but not least, we'll have a look and an inspiration into something that has already been developed, and to some extent, Celestine from PortPay International will tell us in a second, is already been used. And I think we'll also just start with the video.
PortPay en Parkline introduceren de nieuwe standaard in het digitaliseren van vaarbewegingen. Het digitale vignet op boten is meer dan alleen een vergunning en brengt veel gemak met zich mee voor gebruikers, en het vereenvoudigt voor gemeenten de handhaving op vergunningen, lichtgeld en doorvaart. In de praktijk worden alle vaartuigen voorzien van een RFID-chip. Deze is op afstand uitleesbaar en er kan automatische controle plaatsvinden waarbij geen handmatige invoer meer nodig is. Parkline is de marktleider op het gebied van gedigitaliseerde parkeeroplossingen. Je kent deze onder andere van het betaald parkeren via je mobiele telefoon in veel steden. Er wordt samengewerkt met PortPay. Zij hebben jarenlange ervaring met het gebruik van RFID- en barcodesystemen. Het afrekenen van diensten gaat geheel automatisch, bijvoorbeeld voor het lichtgeld. Dit is tevens handig voor gemeenten bij de handhaving hierop. Als je een nieuw gebied invaart of doorvaart, dan kan het natuurlijk zijn dat er doorvaargeld betaald moet worden. Dit gaat bij bruggen en sluizen automatisch. Als je ergens wilt liggen, kun je je bijvoorbeeld aan- en afmelden via sms of met de applicatie op je smartphone of tablet. Ook kunnen bepaalde andere diensten gemakkelijk geregeld worden, zoals het afnemen van stroom, het vullen van je watertank of bijvoorbeeld het kopen van een consumptie.
Het voordeel van ons is dat we meer kunnen handhaven en ook op andere zaken kunnen gaan handhaven. Als we nu gaan handhaven op het water, doen we zo 200 boten per dag en voorheen deden we er 30. En daarvoor hebben wij gekozen voor PortPay.
Met het digitale vignet wordt een boot trouwens alleen geregistreerd als het langs een reader komt. Het is dus geen GPS-volgsysteem waarbij je altijd kunt zien waar iedere boot zich bevindt. Het is dus geen Big Brother. Bij elk digitaal vignet ontvang je een yachtcard. Met deze voordeelkaart kun je het gehele jaar gebruik maken van veel aanbiedingen bij honderden acceptanten op en rondom het water. De yachtcard biedt tevens een gratis 24-uur service voor het opvragen van allerlei informatie of bijvoorbeeld het doorverbinden met een jachthaven of restaurant voor het maken van een reservering. Ook kan er gebruik gemaakt worden van een anti-diefstalmodule. Omdat alle boten voorzien zijn van een digitaal vignet, kan er een melding gestuurd worden als een boot langs een registratiepunt komt. Als de bootbezitter zelf niet aan het varen is, kan deze zelf actie ondernemen, zodat hij geïnformeerd wordt. Ook voor de binnenvaart heeft het vignet meerdere voordelen.
Nou, de vrachtvaart en de pleziervaart, die hebben er allebei baat bij. Ze worden gecontroleerd, ze varen langs en ze worden gescand. Dus automatische betalingen, waardoor het voor ons ook een stuk makkelijker wordt.
Wij als commerciële jachthaven hebben voor het systeem gekozen omdat het ons veel rompslop en administratie uit handen neemt en omdat we zeker weten dat het allemaal goed geregeld is.
Bestel nu ook uw digitale vignet voor op het water en ontvang tevens een yachtcard.
So, yes.
Thank you very much. This film is 10 years old. I started 10 years ago. And why? I'm a little bit of a nerd. Because I studied supply chain management. And why I bought my own boat in the city of Haarlem. I have to buy a sticker. And each year I get a new sticker with a unique number. And I have to put it on my boat. And then I saw the law enforcement people checking my boat. Because you have to pay per meter and sort of boat. And they were checking with a laptop and a Nokia telephone and putting up my how do you say that, deck cell, the sill on my boat and put in the unique number and check this in his laptop, I think now. And I did RFID for many years. So what we did is invent a just simple RFID tag, and we call it the digital vignette. And now more than 100,000 vessels in the Netherlands have now a digital vignette. So not in the area, not only Haarlem. You'll see tomorrow in the city of Amsterdam. We have more than 250 sensors also in the city of Amsterdam. Not only for digital vignette, we do also sounds measure, sound sensors, counting sensors. And why? To help, one, the law enforcement, and the other hand, ook the people who have a boat. Because this is just a technology. And what we also did is it calls the Vaarwater app. We use in Amsterdam. So everybody who has a boat will use the Vaarwater app. And then you also see on the Vaarwater app a lot of information. Traffic jams, the weather, the speed you may. Because you have a lot of different type of waters in the Netherlands. But if you go to the IJ, it's allowed to, I think it's 6 kilometers, 20 kilometers? 12? I don't know. And I don't get the signs. So then I use also for myself the Vaarwater. Because when I go into Amsterdam, it's, who knows, 6 kilometers? 9? But then I go out of Amsterdam to the other side, to the Vecht. 6? So you have a lot of rules in the Netherlands. That's also where we use the Vaarwater app for. So where if you click it on, it's on it, and you go shipping, you get all the information what you need. All the nice things, where you can go to a restaurant, where are the toilets, very important for the women, if you have a boat with no toilet. But that's all the information we combined. So that's what we are doing a little bit. And tomorrow, if you're going to the safari, we will show you all the sensoring. But the biggest problem, Haarlem was easy. And then we went to Amsterdam, and it was a big issue, because Amsterdam is a very old city. And you saw the RFID reader. We read the vignettes about 200 meters. But the reader, the size of the reader was like this. Now, then we went to Amsterdam. It's an old city. Forget it. So we have to use the infrastructure of Amsterdam. So we are using the lantern poles, the parking poles, and we invent to push the reader in the existing infrastructure. Now then you have battery. You don't have the whole day. You have battery power. So in the night we are using our own battery, and at daytime we are using the infrastructure of the lantern poles and the parking poles. Questions about technology?
I would have one question to you actually. Looking at the time, maybe any questions that you might have, we might tackle them later on. But that is a very good. that is a very good inspiration of what has already been done, and it's very well rolled out, and it's impressive how it's been used. How can we learn from that in Connected River, and what would be the takeaway, what we have to look into for the project to implement solutions successfully?
Yeah, lessons I learned is if you want to have 100% successful, stop with the project. Everybody's looking for the holy grail, the hardware, software, whatever. But sometimes 80% is enough. It's much more than you have now. Now you have 0. So if we can increase 80% and 90%, because also of course, all the vessels has to be a vignette on the boat, but sometimes a vignette is broken or whatever. So we have 99%. It's enough. And sometimes 60% is more than enough. And that's, I think, the lesson what I want to tell to you. If the goal is 100%, whatever, stop.
Okay, perfect. And thank you. I think also we do have you as a strong solution partner on board, especially a good thing for our Dutch host partners. So I think we'll aim to 99% then.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks very much, and I think we'll hear more from you, as you said, on the Sensor Safari tomorrow, who's going to be there, and there's also going to be chances for questions and discussions, I hope. Sorry for my bad time management.
Take too much time? Oh.
No, that was all on my account.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So with that, we can just pass it here. With that, I would give back to Eileen. Again, sorry for the 3-minute delay, but I think we'll manage that in an agile way. Thank you so much. You're not taking it on this.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm agile, as you wanted to point out, so sure. It's not an issue to have 4 minutes in time, because the next session, you might have seen, is actually a little more interactive, because believe it or not, it's a launch event we're having right now. And we are already seeing solutions out there, and we are already listening to people who tested things, who are already sharing. So I think this has been, at least for me, a very special and I would say exceptional launch event for such a project, because you all started sharing already and you all started working already, and this is more than just launching it. I think you're already in the middle of it, and that's very interesting to me. Maybe a short recap, what have we done today already? And actually, this thing says it all. We have those different pilot areas, and from those pilot areas, starting today, we knew the names, maybe we knew the locations where they are, but I think today we already understood what they're looking for, what they can provide to the project, what their issues are. And I saw the one or other person using the red and green cards not only for voting, but also for making notes already, so that you might have some takeaways. I should talk to this person maybe. I should maybe check, once they have those ecological solutions, what they're actually all about. Maybe we have similar issues. Then we just had this session with the solution partners to actually understand what is already all out there. Great example right now with the vignette, with the analog thing to show what has happened already. And those are things you can probably quickly adapt and learn from with the ready-made solutions, but also learning from their processes, like what Pantian told us about. We have to pivot probably. HomePort 2.0 you mentioned, right? So that would be probably interesting for the one or other to also understand what you're thinking about. And then, as we all talked about user centricity today, we learned from those different facilitators and approach partners what their role is, what their insights are. And those are all sources you can use in the project and in the next few days. And in order to now take this serious, I think the session for now is called Looking Forward and Ambition. I would be interested in who is looking forward in different perspectives and roles. We have people here who are project partners, we have people here who are stakeholders, and I think we have people here who are users of this project. And I think everybody has multiple roles, because some of you use the ferry, some of you have boats, some of you are stakeholders, some of you are project partners. So from those different perspectives, I first of all want to ask you, who of you sees him or herself as a user regarding this project? Who is using the waterways in your harbor areas? Please pick up your green card if you are, and the red one if you're not. Okay. I think there is... Leave them up, because some people are slower, some are quicker. So I think it's a total of only 5 or 6 cards who are red. Everyone else also is a user. So I would be interested in, what is your ambition and what are you looking forward to after what you have seen today? Someone with a green card, and Pantian, you're still holding it up. After seeing that, what is your ambition? What are you looking forward to from a user perspective?
I'm a very egoistic user, because that's why I would love to see that what we are experiencing in the project would be implemented in each of the area, so that we can experience best of these solutions in all of these pilot areas.
Please name one specific thing you want to experience.
I already thought that I would like to have these vignettes in my port.
Okay, so the vignettes are already going to Hamburg. Who has another thing he or she wants to experience? Something you have seen, some idea that might pop up. Doesn't have to be right or wrong. Who's a sailor? Who has a canoe? Who likes to lay at the water and wants to experience something? There were a lot of green cards up there. Well, then it's mostly targeted. Oh, yeah, here we have someone. Hang on, I'm not sure it's long.
Well, basically, I can see a river from my office window, and what I experience living there for 10 years already is that every year I lose a little bit of extra access to this water. So actually, the opposite is happening of what I want to be able to have somehow. They're taking away the boat ramp next year. They're going to heighten the bridge. They're going to do all these kind of stuff. I cannot mountain bike along the river anymore. So basically, they're taking away my river, and I want my river back, and I want to learn here how I can get my river back.
Thank you, Remco. I want my river back. I think that's an amazing sentence, and probably one a lot of users might say. We have another vote, and I'm pretty sure it's not long enough, so probably you have to get up.
The thing I need here on the river, I'm using the river as a user. I need help on the river, because it's dangerous when you're with your wife and your children in your pleasure vessel. This is better. What I need is simply help, because it's big water, and in a summer day it's very crowdy, and you have the naval rules, so you have to go starboard side, but you don't want to go on the freeway here. You want to go on the side, and then stay safe. Just what I need as a user on big water, I need help. So in every way, and we're developing now an app that's thinking about it, so it can provide you with a little help. So I hope this will evolve. So everyone with a pleasure vessel is will be able to sail safely on big water.
Thank you so much. I need help. who else has the Beatles song in their head, right? Okay, so different perspectives. Some people want the vignettes, some people want their river back, some people simply just want help to be safe on the rivers themselves. So I think that's also important. We're not just doing it for our organization or for the project. We are the users in some parts as well. And I think it's important to also keep that in mind. But we have different roles as well. One, and you guys have a lot of names and roles in those projects. One is called stakeholders. And in the preparation, I asked Benno and his team, so who is a stakeholder? If I ask the stakeholders who they are, will they know? So Benno, first of all, in order to actually answer the question, who is a stakeholder and what are they looking forward, what is a stakeholder in this project? Maybe you can explain.
Thank you. That's a very good question. I think a stakeholder is a person or a group who has interest in what we're doing in our project. And when you look at the I, if we are doing experiments to make it more safer, as just mentioned, so who we need for that to get it organized. For example, I think it would be very wise to do it together, for example, with the Port of Amsterdam, because they're managing a part of the water, but also with Waternet, for example, or the municipality. I think those are examples of stakeholders. But it can also be, for example, a group of people, for example, Sail Amsterdam. So there's a big event once in a 5 year with a few million visitors. They are also a stakeholder. So how we can help them with all these people coming to the eye, on the water, alongside the water, to stay safe and to visit the area and to have a good time.
Okay, thank you. So my question again is, after this kind of explanation, who of you is a stakeholder of this Connected River project? And someone learned already. Green cards up, who's a stakeholder? It's a little more hesitation here. Okay, there's still a lot of stakeholders out here. Okay, so we have at least double roles already. So same question, looking at this project from a stakeholder perspective, what are you looking forward to from this project? And as you held your card up first, you can come forward as well. And maybe you just state who you are and what kind of stakeholder and what you're looking forward to.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Cas de Bruin from Port of Amsterdam at the Port Authority. And as Benno already mentioned, our goal is to have safe waters and to manage the traffic safely and smoothly. And the I area is a very complicated area with a lot of crossing traffic, a lot of different users, which are difficult to manage. Our traffic managers use radar systems to guide vessels with heavy cargo across our waters, but small ships, small boats aren't always visible. So what our interest is how can smart and digital solutions help us reach the users which we can't see on our operational systems, and how can we gain insights in what kind of users are there, how are they using our waters, and how can we try to manage them safely across the water and making sure everybody can use the eye as they wish without causing incidents or accidents. So it matters what kind of definition you use, how many incidents. It matters, like real incidents are very little, so actual collisions, but near misses, then the I area is our hotspot. So in the entire North Sea Channel, the I area is actually the most dangerous place to sail. It's because of the bend. Yeah. The eye has a bend, so there are limited line of sights. There are a lot of different users, It's the most narrow part of our waterway. So these are all factors that cause the most incidents on a limited area.
Okay, great, thank you. And yeah, we already see the matching point from the user who needs help and then the stakeholder who sees the problem and wants to react. Any other stakeholder who has a different expectation or he or she is looking forward to in this project after this afternoon? No? No? Okay. Then maybe everybody is looking at safety. Let's see about that in the course of this project. And then last but not least, the project partner perspective. So you know my questions by now already. Who of you all is a project partner? Green card up, red card if you aren't. There should be a few red cards as well. Yeah, okay. People understand their roles after today, I think. That's good. First target. Okay, and here I actually really want to understand, after this afternoon, after seeing those solution partners, those approach partners, but also, and I think that's the most interesting thing, the other pilot areas, what are you looking forward to? What can you give into the project, others can learn from you, and what are you interested in? And be specific. I'm very interested in Lille because I heard that and that. Just want to see what you learned from today, where you have your first takeaways. And I want to go through all kind of the areas. So who wants to go first? Maybe Port of Lille. I just started. Maybe one of you comes up, or you can come together however you want. Just a short, what are you looking forward to and what can you bring into the project?
Well, first of all, I heard some very interesting things today. And we see here the I region, which I just learned it's the most narrow part. Well, your most narrow part is way much larger than our largest part of the Deul River. And we are facing a major change in a few years, because in 7 years from now, the so-called Canal Seine Nord will be realized. And whereas today, you can see here how narrow it is really. You can see the port area. And one of our problems today is that I don't really have users. And in the bottom line, I want to avoid users. Because we have more and more people looking at rowing activities, stand-up paddle, and you can just take a small boat, an electric boat or a stand-up paddle, and just adventure in the middle of the fairway. And all these guys sailing, and I used to sail on such vessels as well, inland vessels, my biggest fear has always been some of these guys with a jet, a small motor jet, going through starboard before the ship, and every inland ship, this one is an 80-meter ship, has a dead angle. The dead angle is as long as the ship's length. And if you don't know this, because there's no need for any license or whatsoever, you just can't go out on the water. So it creates danger. Therefore, for us, it's interesting to see how can we manage this new gained activity. People want to come on the waterway. And I heard also today hearts and minds, which is very interesting, because a few years ago, and you can see here, people living at the other side are just complaining today. This is NIMBY effect. And a few years ago, it was just enough to create work, to create employment, the economic part. Because if you feed their wallets, their hearts and minds will follow. But this just is not enough anymore. So how can we get our acceptance for port activities? And in 7 years from now, not only smaller vessels, 80 meters is the biggest vessel we can get in Lille today. In 7 years from now, it's 135 meter vessels. So bigger vessels. And how can we become a great place to work, a great place to stop for vessels, and not just a nice area to sail through on their way to Paris, which is a major change. Instead of being the southernmost point of the Scheldt Basin, because we are related physically to Antwerp, to Zeebrugge, to Rotterdam, and not to Paris. Whereas politically, in France, we are not customer-centered, we are Paris-centered. Welcome to France. And so how can we be in contact with the rest of Europe and make sure that all the fleet that is coming will serve correctly our region?
Okay. Thank you for those insights again. And you can choose the next region you want to hear from and their expectations.
Well, let's look at Nijmegen.
Who's coming up? Sander? Sander?
Yeah. I heard a lot of things, and for Nijmegen, especially recreation is a problem, and safety, because the different kinds of recreation activities go together. So the Nete is a place where we can learn from, and also the water quality is a point where we are interested in. So all areas where we learn from those things are interested to us. And
Wat gaan we brengen? Huh? What can we bring?
Well, we can bring our the experience we have with all the different groups of people who are using the area, and the solutions that they deliver, we can share with you.
Thank you so much. So it's safety, similar to what I heard about the eye here, and it's water quality. So maybe a good connect to Ecoloop we just heard about. And you're bringing additional data and insights into the pool. Great. Whom do you want to hear from next? Which region?
Well, I should say Denmark, but they are not here. So perhaps the Kleine Nete.
Who's coming up? Yes. Kleine Nete.
Okay. I don't know where Mark is, but...
he left you alone.
Yes, probably. Kleine Nete, well, as you have heard, we are kind of a special case within all of the rest of the projects. We are small but beautiful. And the issue in Flanders on water is about water quality, about risks of flooding, risks of water scarcity and drought. But most importantly, and this is what it is all about, is about water experience. And what we want to do, because we have the water users that are starting to use our small river, kayaking and canoeing, and we want to manage them, and this is what we want to learn about all those other projects, like the vignette, for example, for managing all the recreations. But it's not the end goal, managing the water recreation. Our end goal is, in fact, that we want to have a good water quality, that we have to want good water quantity. So what we want to do is use the water experience as a kind of looking for engagement with all the water users, so that they know, that they learn that water quality is a very important issue, and that we want to invest also in water quality. And the Kleine Nete is in fact a kind of a pilot project within Flanders. We want to expand that to all the other rivers. But it's very important to learn to people, if they use the water and if they start using as a recreation, that they can see that water quality is a big issue and that you have to invest in it. And only then, if the water users then can talk to the politicians and get money raised and so on, then we will get, in the end, a better water quality. And then we will get more water users, and then we have to manage them and buy more vignettes and stuff like that. But this is our main goal. So it's an intermediate goal to manage the water users. The end goal is for us a better water quality, a better water quantity management.
Okay, thank you. You have a big vision over there. Yeah. That's interesting. Great. And you can choose again the next. Yes.
What's next?
From the
Hamburg.
first one. Hamburg.
So I think from our perspective, we are quite a large area and a big port. And we have a large stakeholder group that we have to satisfy somehow. And we have to satisfy ourselves as well. And what I would like to really learn or experience more from your perspective beside the vignette that I already marked, that I have to talk to you, is also the solutions that have already been implemented in other area, other pilot area, which seems to be small in our size, but what could we really scale into our scenarios? That it could be maybe a quick win because we would like to reinvent the wheel, and that is actually the point. We have to make a pace when we are talking about the digital solution, who make the race, and we would like to also to be in the race, and that's why we have no time to really produce a new solution. If there's already something out there, we would like to explore how it could be workable in our environment. And that is the things that I think we could take from this project also. And what we could really give as a counter part for this project is also the experience that we have been gathering throughout these 11 years of smart ports, being fail, being successful, and all of these stepping stones that we have put along this journey. And I think that's quite a bunch of stories to tell. And I think we can make even like a series of that. Fuck up night and whatever. And that is actually what we could. And also maybe the solution that we have already implemented could be also of interest of you.
Okay, thank you, Pantjan. And you can not really choose, right? There's one left, I think. So, Reiksi Vata start. Jelmer.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I started, so that's why I probably have to end as well. Yeah, well, when I heard all the pilot areas, I observed there are a lot of differences, but I think we all are facing quite large challenges. It could be societal or technological or environmental. And maybe we choose different solutions, but at least working together, we have the opportunity to learn and copy the solutions that other areas are taking. So I think that's really helpful. I think for us at the I in Amsterdam, safety is on top of our list, which you heard quite a lot today. But I think we can also learn from the other areas. If I heard from Hamburg that they're looking into pollution or noise and trying to interact with the port and the city together better, I think that can be very interesting for the area here as well. And the other areas are also more looking into the environmental part of being a waterfront ecosystem, and also allowing for recreational users to get their river back. And so therefore, it's not necessarily the other large port, Hamburg, that is our most best partner to learn from. I think we can learn from all areas.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Jelma. And you can actually stay up here.
All right.
Because now we heard what you guys are looking forward to starting from today on. But I'm going to start into the wrap up slightly, slowly. And in order to do that, I want to thank a few people and I want to understand what they learned from today, what their key insights are. And 3 major and very important people for this whole project are the project leads or the work package leads. Jelma, you're one of them, and I want to ask Thomas and Wouter also up to the stage. Please, a little applause for them. Guys, you're kind of in charge of the work packages. You're not alone in charge. I know you lead together with other people. But after today's afternoon, after your sessions, maybe in short, what are your key takeaways? Did something change for you and your perception after today? And as you already have the mic in your hand, Jelma, you can start right away.
Well, that's a good question, Aline, because I just reflected on hearing from the other pilot areas. So yeah, basically what I said before is I look forward to start experimenting because I think that's the way of learning by doing. And I think a lot of challenges are also fitting for experiments. So yeah, that's what I really look forward to do that in practice together. And yeah.
Okay. Did something change, Wouter? How was your session? What were your thoughts?
Heard lots of interesting things here. What I really look forward to, but that's mostly because I like to go into arguments with people. That's now we've heard lots of like-minded statements and so on, but I think as we move along in the project, we'll also touch upon some paradoxes. So, for instance, one of the statements I heard here, won't say whom it was from, but it's this belief, which is quite persistent amongst technology optimists, that technology will solve human problems. It's mostly my experience that technology just creates new human problems. And then the answer is often, yeah, let's throw some more technology at it. And yeah. So that's one of those paradoxes. Perhaps also from my point of view here, so I'm here more as an academic, and we heard about theory and practice. So also, will that match? How smooth will that be? That's also something I look forward to. And then there's probably loads of other paradoxes and so on we'll touch upon. And well, I look forward to a bit of, let's say, creative conflict.
That sounds nice. Thomas, are you ready for the conflict?
I don't know if this was the question.
Yes, now it is.
I should prepare for. Okay, now it is. I guess I feel that, and I see when you actually want to change something and implement something, then there's gonna be conflicts, or it's not gonna be a solution that is relevant to people, because then there's probably not so many conflicts as well. But maybe coming to my key takeaways is more of a general one, because in the last 2 years I've been doing or involved in quite a few Interact projects, and we had a lot of COVID and working from away, and then also in the startup phase now, of course, all the host partner regions, and we've been sitting together with the Port Authority, and then we're very much thinking on a local level and what is the challenges for Hamburg and how can we solve them. But only having those few hours today already showed how inspiring it is, and that we're already starting it. Oh, that's a nice solution. I want to have that too. And if only a few of those peaks get into like experimenting together and collaborating together, then that is so powerful and so strong. And that's what I really took away, the spirit that we have in the project, that I really think is gonna bring us far, and it's gonna make be fun to be in the project for the next years. That's my feeling, at least for this kickoff already.
All right. Thank you, guys. And I really, really want a big applause, not just for the 3 of you, but also for your teams behind you, because you guys and your organizations are going to lead those work packages and hopefully make those expectations come to life. All right. Yeah, you can leave. It's my stage, right? No, it's. I want my. No, it's not my stage, but I want to kind of end with how we started. And I'm now looking into the first row, looking at Arno, you guys with Rijkswaterstaat and initiating this whole thing, being in the lead for the whole project. I maybe ask you two to come back up to the stage. After, yeah, pull down the pants. Yeah, both in the same time. That was good. So maybe looking at you, and I have to read out something. Arno, you're also member of the Connection and Reflection group. First of all, I want to understand, what is that group? What are you doing there? And after that, I want to understand, after today, what makes your heart tick faster? What are you thinking about this whole thing now?
Okay, yeah, what that group is, I have to learn. This is the first time for me, but that doesn't matter. I think what's important for the reflection group, that we go above everything, what we see, what we hear, and maybe we have to connect it to. We have a lot of connections as members. Patjen is also a member of the group. I heard. So we have a lot of connections in our area. I have a lot of connections here in the Netherlands at Rijkswaterstaat, but also at the government or local governments. So we can connect people if you need some resources in people, money maybe if it's necessary, and that kind of things. That's I think that's our job. We will find out, of course, and I have some reflections.
Okay.
Yes, you say you gave me the cards, and I used it to
I
make
can
some
tell.
notes. Yeah, you saw it. I know. Maybe you read it.
No.
It's too much to say, but I think one important thing for me, what gives me energy, this is a European project. That's very important, that it's Interreg, connected, co-funded. It's said there by the European Union, and thank you for that. That brings people together. And that gives me a good feeling here, that I'm a European inhabitant, and that you are also a European people making solutions, working together in collaborations, and facing problems in our areas, but we can solve it. I think we can manage that. Bringing together the energy, there is a lot of energy here also, maybe in the people who are working for you. And that bringing together, then we can make solutions and help us each other further. I've heard about ecosystems, and that was in the beginning. In ecosystems, self-sustainable. That's very interesting. How does it work? We will find out how it works. But it is with multi-stakeholders. It gives energy again, innovations, working together, all that kind of things, and the living labs. I'm very exciting how the living labs are going to work and what we are going to learn about that. We will see. And we can find out how to use it further. Because what's very important, now on the red one, that's not that it's bad, the red one, but the red one and my green one were full, so I have to use the red one. That's what you also said, Patjen. I heard you about upscaling a little bit. And that was also in my mind, because I think we are very good in innovating here. That's the same as Rijkswaterstaat. There was a very nice question for the discussion about, can we innovate as a big company? Rijkswaterstaat is a big company. I think we can. But what is also important for big companies, that we have a look at the upscaling. So I think it's our task to look if the innovations is okay and we can upscale it. That's for me also a goal to achieve in the next years, because production, and therefore is it. Production is when the eye is more safer than it's now. Or the Niete is a clean river, and it stays a clean river. But with the users we're very happy with this. I think I'm out of time, running out of time, Aline. No,
no.
There's too much on it. I can reflect a lot of it, but learning from mistakes. That was also something. And then I think in innovations, learning by mistakes is very important. Not being afraid for making mistakes, because by mistakes, some mistakes learns you more than all the things who go as you like. And what also from my heart, it is the 80-20 rule. What you said 100%. No, that's impossible. So we call it the 20-80 rule. And you go for the 80% with 20% of your time, and then you have a very good goals achieved at that moment. So that last 20%, that's too much time. Don't invest in it. Go to give that energy to other things. So I think a lot of things we can use during this project, and I'm thankful to be a member of this project, and I hope us the best. I think maybe Benno will say something.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing. So also looking at our list of project partners. Arno mentioned this connecting and reflecting group, and there's one partner on the. Not on the top, but on the bottom. But I think it's a key partner for this part. It's AEVP. So the other partner from France, sitting over there. So the International Association for Port Cities, with members worldwide, and they have quite a key role for this. So this reflection and connection group helps us to connect also to the other port cities worldwide, and that's why AEVP has the lead. To organize this connection and reflection group. So it's not only with members from our own project partners, such as Pantheon from the Hamburg Port Authority and Anne from Rijkswaterstaat, but AEVP will also invite other members as well to reflect on what we learned, and also to see how we can upscale it also at other port cities worldwide as well. So maybe if there's a little bit time, maybe you would like to add something about that, maybe Theo or Bruno or something. Is it, because I think it's a very important aspect. It's not only about us working together, but also about how we can also bring it to the others as well.
Thank you so much. Just 3 words to present maybe the network, because I know that a lot of people know the name AVP, but maybe you can't really explain what we do, what we are. AVP is a network. It's AVP is born 34 years old. In the beginning, we was only 5 French port cities. It was Dunkerque, Le Havre, Marseille, Lorient, Saint-Nazaire. We can add an Italian port, Genoa, and 2 Spanish ports, Barcelona and Bilbao. And now, 34 years after, we are 180 members in 45 different countries with 3 main areas: Europe, Africa, Canada. In the second rank, you can have South America, Oceania. So, of course, we have the capacity to learn from you new innovations, new ideas, and to disseminate all your knowledge all over the world with our network. And it's our job, and we are very happy to do with you.
Thank you. I think that was a great addition and a perspective we didn't share today yet. So thanks for this opportunity also to scale and to test and to explore more, right? All right, but Benno, what's happening next? What is the next step for the project lead of this project?
Well, it's just it's a kick-off event, but when I look back at today, I have the feeling it's not really like a kick-off. It looks like we're already working for a long time. So, for me, it creates high expectations, and I'm really looking forward to what will happen next. And I think what will happen next is that also today it will be the launch of our website and the launch of our platform as well. So the best lessons, what we will learn in the coming 4 years, we will put on the platform regarding Flow Forward, by our partner Innovator Advice. And we have, of course, our website related to Interreg North Sea. And you can see the 2 QR codes also behind me as well. Yeah. So please stay involved and follow our project regarding all our updates and the lessons we learned. So very happy for that. And then maybe the rest of the program, before we have, I think, some people, is that after the official program, there will, of course, be a reception with some drinks for everyone present today. And after that, there will be a dinner for the project partners only. But maybe, I think now I would like to give back the floor to Arno, and maybe for some words to finalize the event, and also some things.
Okay, I don't think we have some presents for some people. Oh, that we do it afterward. Yeah, I've said a lot of things. I suppose it's 5:30, so I think the most of the people like to go before. These events are very useful for talking to each other and have something to run, have some fun. Maybe have to visit going to visit the city. So I'm thinking of thanking everyone. So I'm tired, sorry. And then my English is not the best anymore when I'm becoming tired. But that doesn't matter. Most of the people will be. And some people will stay here for another 1.5 days. And I wish them the best and good inspiration, of course, and good working together. So I'm very pleased to see the solutions very fast. And we will see. So thank you. Thank you, Benno, I think. But you have a list with people I have to thank, so.
Well, and some presents as well. So let's first of all, we would like to thank the 3 session leads for today. So please come forward, Wouter, Jelme, and Thomas, of course. I'm happy, Thomas, your voice managed quite well today, because when you arrived, it wasn't so good that... Yeah, yes.
Where are we starting with who?
Maybe 1, 2, 3. So.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Also for you, Jelmer. Yeah, there you go. Good luck. Thank you. A lot of work to do.
It sounds a little heavy.
And then after the 3 sessions, thank you very much. So we will meet afterwards. And after that, we would like to thank the 2 keynote speeches for today. So it will be Pantheon and, of course, Remco. It was really a pleasure listening to the inspiring speeches.
Here you go. Joy.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, of course, we should not forget Eileen for the excellent work this afternoon. So thank you very much. So I think we now can close this meeting, and we're looking forward to meet you.
Hey,
wait. Too fast.
Not like that. Thank you so much, guys. You will have drinks, and who looked at the agenda, you will have drinks now in a second. But before that, we have a photo moment, so we can't all run away. So I don't know what the plan is, but okay. Everybody, please come on stage, and then we kind of organize each other here, and then we'll have a photo, and then you'll get the drinks.